Season fortunes for both teams riding on this game coming up next on ABC. State University's origin goes back to Farmers High School, 1859, and a doctor of chemistry named Evan Pugh. As the school grew and became a college, stressing agriculture and mechanics with this philosophy: the male student is fitted to be a man instead of a fashionable loafer. Well, as time passed and the world changed, Penn State grew into one of the nation's finest educational institutions with a college football team that hasn't had a losing season in 46 years. And today, the opposition for the home team is Boston College. The Eagles have never won a football game on this field, and they come into the stadium today for the 13th meeting against Penn State. BC beat Penn State a year ago, first time ever up in Foxborough, Mass. Jack Bicknell, the coach. The Eagles, with a 5-1 record, ranked 7th and 8th in the national polls. They're only one stumble on their history for 1984. Now the roar builds from this crowd of some 80,000 for the Penn State Nittany Lions. 5-3 with losses to Texas, Alabama, and West Virginia. Having troubles in recent times with teams they used to beat year after year just by showing up. It is a young team on the come. Joe Paterno's 35th season at Penn State, 19th as the head coach. Hello again, everybody. I'm Keith Jackson along with Frank Broyles. And Frank, as far as Boston College in particular is concerned, this is a $1 million football game with 10 bowl scouts on hand.
Well, Keith, we heard Jim Lampley say that West Virginia lost. South Carolina are playing and fighting for their life. This puts Boston College in the leading position for the January the 1st bowls. Where does the big money come in? They pay the teams $2 million. And Boston College is an independent, so they get to keep all of that money. And on top of that, they've got to play here today. This Penn State football team back in their own backyard, they're going to really have to play their best.
And we talked last week before the LSU Notre Dame game about tradition, believing you can win. And since Joe Paterno has been involved with this university and the coaches he worked under before he became the head coach, they believe they can win here against anybody.
And that's a big factor. Joe told us yesterday, when he kind of walks out on that field, he kind of feels like that the other team think, well, we haven't won but very few, if any, games. And that's a big factor. There he is right there. He's a really dominating force in this stadium.
Well, it's give Flutie one look and then go find Phelan. That's the way Paterno feels about working against Boston College.
Doug Flutie is such a great football player, incredible talent. I think he's the best and most efficient quarterback I have ever seen play. And Joe was saying yesterday, if you let him keep the ball, he's going to control the game. And so I think that what we can expect is that full rush, trying to make Flutie give him one look and then force him out of the pocket. Otherwise, he'll hurt you.
Young John Schaefer now gets his second start ever for Penn State at quarterback. And it's worth remembering, I think, with this young quarterback that last year, when BC beat Penn State for the first time, the Eagles blitzed the Lions 47 times.
This is going to be a different Penn State team than we've seen the last 2 or 3 years. Their preference is running now. They have big league backs. They have this inexperienced quarterback. They're not overly talented.
Big ball game here, but down south, South Carolina, with 50 seconds remaining, trying to stay undefeated against North Carolina State, having taken the lead 35 to 28.
Up and down that field is not something coaches like me are accustomed to.
Boston College is going to receive the opening kickoff. Darren Flutie and Steve Williams are the deep people. Ken Bell is normally back there, but Troy Stratford is injured, suited up, but is not expected to play. And they're going to save Ken Bell and not risk him on the kickoff returns because they need him at tailback. Masamolenko will kick off for Penn State, and the game is on. Number 13 between these two teams. And it goes to the goal line to Darren Flutie, the younger brother of Doug Flutie, and he almost has a catastrophe at the very beginning as he failed to handle a cold football, and they bring him down inside the 5-yard line. Doug Flutie will start, and of course everybody knows the story, but today he may well take a big step toward becoming the first 10,000-yard man. Bell, we mentioned at tailback. Steve Strahan will be the opening fullback. Kelvin Martin, wide receiver today in there. He's been there all year. And the money man for the Eagles on the pass is Gerard Phelan. Doug Flutie needs 142 yards to take over the total offensive career lead, passing Jim McMahon of BYU. From the tight end, 6. Along the line, Mark McDonald, 270-pound tackle. Steve Trefillo, 265 at guard. Jack Bicknell with a very sore leg, 255 at center. Mark Bardwell at the other guard, 255. Sean Regent, 270 at tackle. It is second down and about 7. The ball is out beyond the 6, close to the 7-yard line. As Strahan picked up about 3 on the opening carry of the game. BC starting deep in the hole, and Flutie throws it out of his end zone. And the pass is snapped down the middle, and he's lucky to get it back. It was intended for Gieselman, but Rogers Alexander, the inside linebacker, number 95, steps right in front of it and almost picked it off.
Of course, wheeling dealing football team, Boston College, throwing off their own 5, and as Keith mentioned, properly so, 95, Alexander was right there, could have been intercepted. Great defensive play, one that sure will give them some confidence in defending against Flutie.
There's your defensive alignment for Penn State. Janetti, Rousseau, Moles, and the big guys up front. Your secondary set there. It is third down and 7, Boston College. Flutie rolling it out from the end zone. Throws upfield, and it's batted down by number 31, Shane Conlon, a linebacker who had dropped off into the short zone. And so now Boston College will have to kick the football from their own end zone, and Penn State's opening possession should be somewhere near the middle of the field. Doing the punting will be Steve Teach, a backup quarterback.
Keith, I was just going to mention that I've always believed in a big ball game it helps to kick off, let the other team start deep in their end of the field and maybe make a mistake, fumbling the kickoff, put them in the hole.
Teach handles the snap well, gets his kick out of there, comes upfield, it bounces. They play on grass here, so you don't get the big bounce. And it rolls dead on the BC side of the field. Penn State is going to have the ball first down at the Boston College 44 with John Schaefer, a sophomore quarterback out of Cincinnati. Steve Smith, a junior from Clinton, Maryland, 225 at fullback. And this is the man, DJ Dozier, another sophomore and a great running back. Herb Bellamy is one of the wide receivers, and Tough Rocky Washington is your flanker. And the Lions come quickly now out of the I formation. Boston College showing a 5-man defensive front. Schaefer gives the ball to Dozier, and Dozier slants over just past the right tackle and gets down to about the 40. Dean DiMidio is your tight end, 6'3", 220. The tackle is Stan Short, 270 pounds. Jeff Woofter is at guard, 265. Nick Hayden is the center at 265 pounds. Mitch Farrat, 250-pound guard, and Chris Conlon, the other tackle, 265. Second down and 6 for Penn State from the BC 40. Schaefer gives the ball off inside, goes to Steve Smith, the starting fullback. And Smith bangs for about 1 yard down to the 39. David Thomas, Scott Harrington, Mike Ruth, John Boza, Chuck Gorecki, the down linemen. Holy and Van Nessen are the starting linebackers. And the defensive secondary, Russell, Eiton, Pereira, and Thurman. Thurman with 9 pass interceptions on the season. It is third down and 5. Boston College, or rather Penn State at the Boston College 39. Schaefer rolls right, penalty flags flutter into the air. The pass is incomplete. The pass was thrown to the far sidelines, intended for Eric Hamilton, number 30.
The wide receiver, Keith, did not get up on the line of scrimmage. There were only 6 men on the line of scrimmage, and that's a penalty. You have to have 7.
One would think that Boston College might refuse this, since it's not a major penalty.
Illegal procedure on the offense. 6 men on the line of scrimmage. 4th down.
They do refuse it. The referee is Joseph Klimshot today. We'll run the others for you in a moment. On 4th down, the Penn State kicking team comes out, and they bring out the punter, not the place kicker, because it would be a mammoth shot from the tee. John Bruno. Daddy played here at Penn State. John, it's a knuckler up there. It's a tail dragger. If they let it go, it'll go to the end zone, and it does. You got to get that nose pointed down if you're going to kill it deep on the soft grass. He couldn't do it. 39-yard punt. And now Boston College gets a little better field position for its second possession. The first quarter, second possession of the game now for Boston College. Ranking in the top 10 in all the major polls this week, and there are the stats for Doug Flutie on his way to becoming the first man ever perhaps to gain 10,000 yards in his collegiate football career. On first down, they go to Strahan, the fullback. He gets 2 yards, and now let's check in with Jim Lampley.
Keith, final score in Raleigh. South Carolina scored on a dandy 6-yard run with 50 seconds left to cap a 25-point fourth quarter that beat the Wolfpack 35-28. South Carolina remains one of the 4 unbeaten, untied teams in college football. They proved they could do it when they had to. They'll get another chance to prove it here on ABC Sports next week against Florida State. Back to you, Keith.
Well, they pulled it out. It's truly, apparently, one of the Cinderella teams of the season. 2nd down and 8. Flutie back to throw the ball. Wings one down the middle, and the pass is caught by Gerard Phelan at the 27. And number 95, Rogers Alexander, steps in to whack him.
I think we should tell the fans Penn State has an entirely different concept on defense. Here's the Penn State-Boston College record, last year's score. So Penn State has a different concept with their defense. They're trying to penetrate with their 4 defensive linemen, quick penetration, mess up things, do the best they can to put pressure on the passer.
They've got Bell in motion, and Flutie back on 3rd down and 3. Throws it in front of Gerard Phelan, incomplete. And so once again, Boston College will have to kick it away, unable to pick up a first down.
The Penn State defense did apply pressure to Flutie. He had 1 look. He has thrown very poorly on 3 of the 4 passes that he has attempted. 2 could have been intercepted, 1 wild and the other one completed.
Penn State sends 2 people deep now for the punt from Steve Peach. It'll be Kevin Woods and Jim Coates. Joe Paterno, like Frank Broyles, believes catch the ball, don't let it bounce. From the 31. It is Coates, and he comes back to about the 37, a 43-yard punt and a 6-yard return. With 11 minutes and 11 seconds to play in the first quarter, high on a windy hill in the heart of Pennsylvania. Joe Paterno with a young quarterback. John Schaefer has this comment about him.
Schaefer's going to be a fine quarterback. He's got a tremendous arm. He's got one of the really big league arms we've ever had, and he's a great competitor, and I'm pleased with him. But I wouldn't. Doug Strang may end up playing some today too. Doug has had a tough year. He's had to struggle with a young team and a team without DJ Dozier most of the year. But Schaefer's going to start, and I think we'll do an excellent job.
And he goes to work first down from his own 37-yard line. No score in the first quarter. Boston College has had it twice. Once very poor field position. Couldn't do much with it. This is the fullback Smith. And Smith runs over 2 tacklers and picks up almost 9 yards on the carry. Let me get a little clarity in the Doug Flutie story. We mentioned him as being the first player to go for 10,000 yards. That's in Division 1A. I'm sure most of you, certainly around the Portland State area, know that Lomax had 13,000 plus, and Kenny Hobart at Idaho had over 11,000. We want to get everybody aroused in Portland and Musco. 2nd down and 2. Back goes Schaefer. Looks left, throws right, and he's hit just as he delivers it by Mike Ruth, who came blowing through, and the pass is incomplete.
Mike Ruth, number 68, really the bell cow, and he's using a stunt, a good swim technique, we call it, where you act like you're swimming, you get right by the center, and he has that relentless effort, and he hits Schaefer just as he tries to release the ball, and it goes incomplete.
They need about 2 yards for their first down, a short 2 on 3rd down. Give it to Dozier. Good defensive flow, and Dozier outruns it and gets the first down. They had a shot at him, but they just couldn't get him. Number 17 came whistling through there, but Tony Thurman missed him.
Speed is always a factor. Dozier has that real speed that when he needs an extra gear, he can accelerate to the outside. And as Keith properly mentioned, Boston College is in perfect position to defend the play, but could not make the tackle.
And so the Lions have it, first down near the Boston College 45. On first down, Pereira blitzes, and Schaefer throws it away. You're going to see a lot of that probably today. Number 41, David Pereira, coming in on a blitz from the blind side, but Schaefer heard the hoofbeats and got rid of the ball.
Here's Schaefer's numbers. You can see 46%, 5 interceptions. He's just a sophomore. As Joe mentioned, he has all of the ability, but it takes time to develop into a polished quarterback.
Second down and 10. Dozier, look at him running back. First down, Penn State, inside the Boston College 35 at the 33. Thurman, ranging over from his free safety spot, finally got there.
Free safeties have to be a combination of a great center fielder, but also they're unblocked on most plays. The offense has never found a way to block the free safety. Here's Thurman, number 17, coming over and making the play, which might have been a touchdown had he not been there.
Just inside the 34 of Boston College, first down, Penn State. Schaefer on first down to throw, goes for the big one. Rocky Washington, and it's incomplete. Rocky Washington, a senior out of Beaver Falls, defending Neil Eichen for the Eagles.
It was a perfect blitzing down, and that's what we had, man-for-man coverage. Schaefer's back in the pocket. He takes time. He looks all the way. The defensive back, Eichen, number 43, makes a great play. Right here, he's going up for the ball. You cannot tell whether the ball had passed the receiver or not, but playing man-for-man, that's about all you could do. Number 43.
Wrong 43 up there. It's already plays for Penn State.
Right.
Mumford is in now, and Dozier's out. Pereira comes from the other side. The pass is away, and it's incomplete. And again, a fine defensive play down the middle, this time by Tony Thurman. And give Schaefer credit. He knew the blitz was coming, and he was hit just as he released it, but he was strong enough to put the ball on target. He's now 0 for 5.
Schaefer is moving out to the left, away from the blitz. Pereira's coming from the weak side, number 41. He's trying to get there. Schaefer finally releases the ball. It's man-for-man coverage, meaning you're really gambling, covering receivers all over the field. It's a very tight coverage, but falls incomplete.
And it's third down and 10. Goes to the air this time. The inside blitz comes, and the inside man is Mike Ruth, number 68.
Coverage sack. Defenders did a great job covering the Penn State receivers. Therefore, Schaefer had no one to throw the ball to. He waits in the pocket, and finally, Mike Ruth, who the coaches say plays like every down is a Super Bowl. You can see the effort. Ruth is not going to give up. He gets away from the blocker, leaves his feet, throws him to the ground.
550 pounds in the bench press. In the punt, John Bruno, high. And it's Kelvin Martin, fair catch. Boston College 12. 9:52 to go, first quarter. And next week, the South Carolina Gamecocks. Ooh, they had a rough one today against the Wolfpack of NC State, winning 35-28, scoring 25 fourth quarter points. They will go against the Seminoles of Florida State. We may need a 3-digit scoreboard to handle it.
Well, Bob Bowden, the Florida State coach, is really one of the best offensive coaches. Very bright with that offense. We will see a lot of scores.
The Seminoles are out in Tempe, Arizona tonight, playing Arizona State in an intersectional game. Boston College first down from its 12. They've had 4 field position so far, this being their 3rd possession. And Flutie gets his pass off down the middle, finds his tight end, Scott Gieselman, first down as the Eagles go out to their 31.
Easiest man to find when you're throwing that football in the middle is a 6'5" receiving. That's Scott Gieselman, the tight end. getting in behind. The fake held the linebackers, handcuffed them just a minute. 95, Alexander was not deep enough. The pass was complete.
Don't tell me that Flutie can't throw it out of a pocket.
Oh, he loves to throw it. Contrary to what people think, at 5'9", does not handicap him.
Back he goes on first down to throw, runs away from the pressure, a little jump off pass to Ken Bell, the tailback working through traffic. He's got another Boston College first down on the Penn State side of the field.
Bell is a junior, number 24. Substituted as a starting tailback for Stratford last year. He's a safety valve. Flutie is dropping back to pass. Receivers are covered. Now he tosses the ball out, picks up some blockers. He caught 4 passes last week for 60 yards. You can see he is a good runner. Alexander misses him. Picks up a good block from Strahan, the fullback. First down.
Come on, D! Penn State 49. Little quick handoff inside to Strahan, and Steve is wrestled down right at the line of scrimmage and working down in the cool shade of State College, Pennsylvania, our colleague Tim Brent.
Keith, it is very cool. As a matter of fact, it's in the mid-40s, dropping rapidly, and it's making the muscles tight. It's already taken its toll. The defensive captain for Boston College, David Thomas, has pulled a hamstring. He will not be back the rest of this ball game.
That is bad news because he's a stalwart along the defensive front for Boston College. Too bad. Second down, give him 1 and make it second down and 9. Flutie gives to Bell, works his way in the middle, down close to the 45. It'll be third down and 6 for Boston College.
Penn State defense has 4 down linemen. As we look at the progress that this is currently adding on what Flutie has done today, you see how close he is to the total offensive career. Less than 100 yards for an NCAA league over McMahon.
That's Division 1A only.
Division 1A only.
Third down and 6. He's got Gieselman, but chooses instead Phelan at the 29. Not Phelan, Martin. Kelvin Martin.
Flutie's only going to get 1 look with those 4 people on most of the protection. You can see the tackles that are rushing. Rousseau 67. You can see Moles 63. They're coming up the middle. And Flutie gets 1 look, and he picks out Martin, who is curled inside, and Zordich brings him down.
And it's first down Boston College now at the Penn State 29. Far and away the deepest penetration of the ball game by the white-shirted Eagles. Throwing on first down. Gets it off, dumps it away to the fullback Strahan, looks for some help and gets some. And then as he comes back across the field, will wind up with about a 2-yard pickup as Don Giannetti, a defensive end, brought him down. 7 minutes, just less than that now, to play in the first quarter. And Texas Tech holding a 3-0 lead. Now, where did Jim Lampley get that information that Tech beats Texas 3 out of the last 4 presidential election years?
He did some research. He must have more than himself.
We got too many researchers that we're coming up with that kind of stuff. Second down and 8. Little delay, give it to Bell, and Bell's caught behind the line of scrimmage, and the man that made that play was Zordich, number 43, the strong safety who was blitzing. He turned him right back into the arms of Giannetti.
It's not unusual to see the blitz as we see the South Carolina comeback. On this part of the field, second down and long is a perfect blitzing down. Zordich, the strong safety, made the play, as Keith mentioned, preventing a long run.
Georgia beating Memphis State, and that was a ball game a lot of folks were worried about, and there's one of the stunners of the day as George Welch brings UVA along the road towards success. It's third down now and about 15. Blitz on, Flutie runs away from 1 and gets his pass off. It was inside the 20, and it is caught there, and the spot will determine a first down perhaps.
Keith, it's the first time we've seen Flutie in the shotgun.
Phelan making the catch.
Phelan knows how to get open. Flutie is flushed out of the pocket by the blitzing linebacker. Graham, I guess it was. And now watch him work for the ball and concentrate, cradle it in. The scramble by Flutie made it possible.
Now the measurement going to be just short. Well, it looked to me like he was near the 29, but they only gave him the 30 on the spot, the 19, but they spotted him just short of the hash mark.
They'll have to go for it. Watch this scramble. This is why the shotgun, the first time we've seen it, the blitzing is coming from the right side of it. Number 53, Graham. Now he flushes Flutie out. Now Flutie looks for the receivers. He doesn't want to run the ball because it's about 15 yards for a first down. What a catch by Phelan.
Look where he is. He's inside the 19 on that catch.
He still was, Steve.
They go for it. Strahan, a high school high jumper, trying to sail over the top of it.
The mark gave him the first down.
Looks like it.
Yeah.
But now you know off that last play what Joe Paterno meant when he said you give Flutie one look and then try to find Phelan.
That's exactly what he told us yesterday at lunch. And the reason is that Phelan knows how to get open on the scramble. Other receivers, sometimes they just stand still. They don't know how to get away from the defense.
Oklahoma State, Notre Dame pulled one out with a last gasp field goal, and Syracuse beat Pittsburgh, and the trouble continues for the Panthers. It is first down, Boston College at the Penn State 19.
Another good situation for the blitz.
He's got 3 wideouts. Penalty flag. Whistles before, just as the snap occurred.
Looks like it's the lay of the game, Steve.
It is. It is.
When you use a lot of formations and shift around, you take that risk of exceeding the 25-second clock.
Which they do not have here.
Vic Dale saying, hurry up, giving the signals of the formation. Substitute brings in the play. What a bright coach this man is. And what refreshing.
Delay of game on the offense. First down.
And 15 as the ball comes back now to the 24.
The late penalties just change your offensive strategy. Well, I don't know what it does with the wheeler deal of Doug Flutie. He can do the same thing.
Dombrowski is in now at a wideout, number 44. Goes down the middle with it, and he short hopped it. Phelan was in the middle, trying to reach in and scoop it up, but he couldn't quite do it. And so it brings up third down and 15.
The man in motion is very difficult to cover. If you're playing man for man, you sort of lose him. And now Phelan's going to get in the middle, and once again, Moulds forces Flutie to scramble a little bit, but ball, while he was scrambling, was inaccurate, trapped, incomplete.
Try to run a counter inside, and they get something out of it with Phelan carrying the ball. That's sort of an enlarged version of the old wingback counter type play, and it gets him down to about the 18.
Stop made by Alexander to the line. Third down.
Third down and 9 now.
Here's the offensive breakdown. Boston College, 86 total yards. Penn State, 24. Nothing passing.
Flutie under pressure, and they've got it. All the way back at the 33-yard line. The ball is loose, and the Nittany Lions cash it in.
That old naked bootleg backfired against the blitz. Look at the top of your screen. It's going to be a naked bootleg. No one is there to block White, the defensive end. Watch him. He has that poise. He jumps, but he keeps his balance. And finally, he strips the ball away from Flutie right there.
Lions cover the ball at their own 32. They will have it there first down as they turn away the Boston College threat.
Ready to drink Coca-Cola. Yeah, whenever you pour a Coca-Cola into a glass right then and there, it's ready to drink. Really, unless you want to make it as sweet as, say, Pepsi. If you did, then you'd have to add some sweetener. You'd have to spoon it. You'd have to stir it up, then drink it, because Pepsi's sweeter. See, that's the beauty of Coke. The only thing you have to do to make a perfect Coca-Cola is pour it. Maybe add some ice. Ready to drink Coca-Cola now.
Coke is it. You never know when when the weather's going to turn on you? Do you? That's why Michelin developed the XA4 all-season tire. The XA4's as good in the snow as a snow tire. As good out of the snow as a great handling highway tire. And with proper care, its unique all-weather tread lasts up to 60,000 miles. Michelin, because so much is riding on your tires.
Next Saturday on CFA football, Pitt-ranked South Carolina, one of only 4 major unbeaten collegiate teams, tangles with Florida State, live at 3:30 Eastern on ABC.
Well, in 12 plays, after 5 minutes and 55 seconds, Boston College fumbles the ball away on the pressure on Flutie, and Penn State comes up with it now. They do have a 25-second clock, but what I should have said to you a while ago is it's not at field level. You got to look up above the crowd to see it. It's sometimes hard to see. Here's Dozier on a sweep right. And DJ picks up about 3 as he's knocked out of bounds at the 35. They sell here about 70,000 season tickets. Their capacity is listed at 83,007 change. So you got to look way up above the end zone crowds, and you get it up against a high sky like you've got today with a bright sun on it. It's hard to see.
You got a near side quarterback, you're in trouble.
2nd down and 7. And it's Dozier again. This time Pereira slows him down, and the pursuit gets him at the line of scrimmage.
Pereira is one of those key football players that's around the football. He's the strong safety, but leads the team in tackles, which is, I think, a little bit unusual. Sometimes the free safety does, but the strong safety, and they seem to put him at the right place at the right time, and he gets involved. That's the key for being a good safety.
They marked him out near the 36 on that one for a yard. 3rd down and 6. Schaefer back, pressures on, they got him. And coming up the middle, it's Bill Romanowski, number 53, and remember the name. He is a freshman, and the coaches think he is going to be a spectacular linebacker.
Continuing on what Keith said, they've tried him at fullback, but all they've been waiting to do is get him ready to play. There he comes. You see Penn State busts their blocking, and Romanowski, the freshman, makes the play, forcing the punt. Blitz a young, inexperienced quarterback. That's what Boston College is doing.
John Bruno punting. Gets a good one out of there this time. He had a lot of field to work with. He tried to kill the other 2 deep. Kelvin Martin on the return for the Eagles. And Kelvin comes back to the 34. It was a 52-yard punt by John Bruno with 2 minutes and 35 seconds to play in the first quarter. No score. Involved in every play this time of the year, you're going to have some sore spots. I talked to Doug Flutie about his.
The shoulder's fine, and so is the hand. Last week I bumped it a little bit on someone's helmet, and it was a little bit sore for a couple of days, but it's fine now. The shoulder I hurt, in the beginning of the season, and every now and then it's my left shoulder, so it doesn't really matter that much, but every now and then you get a little flare up, but it's pretty good.
And the temperature is going down toward the middle 30s by the end of this game on an almost cloudless day in the heart of Pennsylvania. And when you've got Knicks on a cold day, they are more troublesome, especially if you have to sit on the sidelines a long time. It's the best field position Boston College has had for starting a possession. 1st down at 34, and Flutie under pressure has to get rid of it again rather quickly, and the pass is off target and incomplete.
I'm very impressed with the amount of pressure that Penn State is getting on Flutie in the passing game. Something that Penn State couldn't do last year with only 2 down linemen, rushing linebackers to try to put the other pressure. Right now, these 4 men are coming on the snap of the ball.
Now, Jack Bicknell has decided to change things a little bit. He takes out the 3 wides, puts Ken Bell back in there. They go to a shotgun. Bell, of course, a good receiver. And he drifts out into the short zone as Flutie goes deep down the middle, and the pass is dropped by Kelvin Martin. A little bit behind Kelvin. Otherwise, he probably would have pulled that one in. And it was for good pickup, too, close to 22 yards.
Here's what Flutie has done against Penn State. You can see his freshman year, his sophomore year, he completed a record number of yardage passes for 520, but that was in a losing cause on a one-sided victory by the national championship team. Last year was the big one, 380 yards, and won the football game.
Well, it was in this game that started his career because Penn State was beating the Eagles pretty badly, and Jack Bicknell stuck him in the game and Since then, he's been a sensation. Down the middle again, and this time it is caught up at the 49-yard line and will be a first down unless the penalty flag is against Boston College.
This time, Flutie backed up deeper than I've seen him, Keith. He backed up very deep.
It was Flutie to Flutie that time, too.
Doug's brother is just a freshman. Was really a running back.
Oh, look at here. It's against Penn State.
Keith, last year that would be tacked on at the end of the play, but I'm not sure that it is now. I think they changed that rule to stop the tacking on at the end of the play. Yes, they have.
They will take the play, which gives them first down at their own 49. Doug's probably quoting last year's rule.
That's correct. That was last year's rule.
We had a face mask on the defense during the forward pass. It is declined. It's a first down.
Let's see if we can tell the where the face mask occurred. Isolated right here on the Flutie. Darren Flutie. Nope, it's not there. It's somewhere else.
Bell goes in motion, putting 3 wides on the same side of the field. Flutie back. It is batted up in the air and intercepted by number 55, Tim Johnson. And Penn State has the football at the Boston College 31.
Well, that's the break. That's what you do when you put pressure on the passer. You force Flutie to go to the safety valve. Watch the 4 men. The 4 men are getting pressure on Doug. Here comes, to tell who that was.
Johnson. Tim Johnson.
Johnson, number 55, catches it. And Penn State is ready. 99 is the one who was putting the pressure on him. That's Mike Garrett. He's the one that forced it.
So the defense gives the Penn State offense an opportunity at the 31. And into the ball game is Doug Strang. And Strang carrying the ball out of bounds at the 10. Doug Strang jumped into the lineup for Penn State for the first time today and comes up with a big play.
With the poise, the experience of a senior, been in the battle many, many times. He reacts positively, scrambles right up the middle when the receivers were covered. Big, big play.
That might do a lot to him to get his confidence
Oh,
back.
yes. We'll talk about why. Joe told us yesterday that he had to bench him.
It's first down. The ball is sitting just short of the 10 for Penn State. And Strang coming left with it. Throws in the corner, and his man fell down. Nobody around him, and the intended receiver, Rocky Washington, lost his footing. He was wide open.
Penn State had a first down on the 10-yard line, and that's the toughest place to score from. We coaches would like a first down on the 5, giving us 4 downs to make 5 yards. So Penn State came out throwing on first down. Now they're 3rd and 3 downs to make 10 yards. They'll be lucky to take it in and run and have to continue with the pass. Maybe a draw play.
They may not get a man that wide open again, though. He really had one that time. This is Dozier into the stack for a couple of yards. Peter Foley and Todd Russell, the principal tacklers for Boston College.
The Boston College defense has held up remarkably well. They stopped Penn State early in the quarter, and they've been able to control the running game pretty much, something that we were wondering about before the game.
Heading toward the end of the first quarter. Doug Strang in at quarterback in relief of the starter, John Schaefer, who was 0 for 5.
Here's the blitz.
On 3rd down, Strang back. Gets his pass away, and it is incomplete. Pass intended for Kevin Campbell, defended by Neil Eiton. So it's 4th down, and in comes the place kicker.
Here we see Kevin Campbell, the senior wide receiver. Eiton, number 43, just covers him perfectly, reacts right with him. Ball's incomplete. Beautiful man-for-man coverage. You couldn't ask for any better. Of course, the rush was good. I think Holly put the rush on.
Gonchitano is in now for the field goal try. He is going to kick one from 25 yards, and he is 28 out of 30 inside the 40 during his career. And he bangs it up and through. With 1 minute and 1 second to play in the first quarter, the Penn State Nittany Lion defense, in particular, Tim Johnson, makes the big play, and the Lions get 3 to lead. And here's Jim.
Thank you.
Well, Keith, I told you about the election year jinx for the Longhorns at Lubbock. They've lost there in 3 of the past 4 presidential election years, the only exception 1972. Right now, it is 10-0. Red Raiders over the Longhorns at halftime. Texas, only 51 yards of total offense in the first half. And, of course, Texas Tech scored twice, a touchdown and a field goal. Both of those scores coming after Texas turnovers. Remember, Texas, one of only 5 unbeaten teams in the country. They do have the tie with Oklahoma. 3 straight miraculous escapes. And, Keith, I remember you and I saw another Texas Tech upset over Texas back there in 1974. So they do it pretty often. Back to you.
It would sure be a boost for the Red Raiders if they could sneak that one away, huh?
Jerry Moore, the coach who has had a long, fine career as assistant coach at Nebraska, has had some tough years, and this would be a great win for him.
I'll tell you, somebody else might get a boost out of it. It'd be TCU, who still has to play Texas.
Oh, yes, and it puts some other teams back in the Cotton Bowl picture. Texas would lose.
I bet. Long, deep kickoff into the end zone where Steve Williams catches it. Minka nailed it. And so Boston College, now trailing 3-0 to the Lions, will come out to the 20 for the first snap.
Well, you have to consider a victory for the defense when the offense turns the ball over on that part of the field, right close to the goal line, and you force the field goal attempt, which was successful. But the defensive coaches say, fellas, you did your job. That's all you could do.
Now Bell and Strahan come out in the backfield for BC as Flutie sits down under the center and gives to Strahan, and not much, maybe 2, and that'll do it as Kirkendall and Johnson were there.
In talking to the Boston College coaches, they mentioned that they really would hope they could make some yards running, take so much pressure off of Flutie. Here's Flutie's done for the week in 6 games. Look at North Carolina. That was his big game. 73% completion, 6 touchdowns. And what's impressive also is 60% completion average, 6 interceptions, and 17 touchdowns.
2nd down and 8 from the 22.
Delayed blitz.
Pressure's on, and Flutie runs out of the traffic and comes up the sidelines just over the 25. Rogers Alexander, number 53, was the man coming down the middle. Don Graham, a linebacker. If there is one thing that abounds at Penn State insofar as athletes and football players in particular are concerned, it would be linebackers.
Keith, that's a great point. Most of them have played fullback in high school. They can run. And Alexander, that was a perfect example of delayed blitz, meaning he waited, the blocking took effect, and then he ran through.
Penn State leads 3-0, 3rd down and 6 for Boston College. Flutie has time. The ball is batted down at the line of scrimmage, and there's the wrap on a 5'9" quarterback right there. 12 seconds to go in the first quarter.
Doug's a little bit perturbed right now. This is the at least amount of completions and effectiveness that I had seen in the first quarter. You can see what he has done for the season. Only 9 times has he lost yardage out of 243 plays.
Steve Peach is in now for the punt with Woods and Coates deep for Penn State. Low kick, and stepping up is Woods, and is immediately felled at the 43. 35-yard punt and a 3-yard return with 4 seconds to go in the first quarter.
Keith, have we mentioned that there's a pretty good wind blowing today? The Boston College has been going into the teeth of the wind, and Penn State has had that advantage. This will change in 4 seconds. There's the flag. You can see it's about a 10-mile-an-hour wind, I would estimate.
Beaver Stadium is a bowl. It's fully enclosed. Gosh, I go back to the days of coming here to do ball games when they had less than 60,000, and now they have almost 84,000.
Beautiful place for college football setting.
Strang is in there at quarterback, turns and gives the ball to Dozier, and Dozier, slashing over the right side, picks up about 3 yards. First quarter is over, and after 15 minutes, it's Penn State 3, Boston College nothing. Bucolic City.
Hard to beat this setting. They built this stadium out off of the campus. Parking, they parked 23,000 cars.
Second down and 7. Penn State's ball at their own 46 as we start the second quarter. The pitch to DJ Dozier, a slow developing play. Boston College handles it all right. Andy Hemmer made the tackle for BC, coming back after injury, and they need him because they are without Ted Gaffney, an outstanding linebacker. He's hurt.
Here are the stats for the first quarter. As we expected, the Boston College specialty is passing. Penn State specialty is running. The team that's able to complement that with either rushing for Boston College or passing Penn State will win this game.
And Strang back, gets the heat on him and throws down the middle, and it's only a defender, Thurman, that gets his hand on the ball. And slashing up the middle and blitzing was Andy Hemmer, and Hemmer really belted Strang.
Thurman is the free safety playing center field. All he's got to do is watch the quarterback and play the ball. The ball is thrown very high. Thurman gets his hands on it. It's deflected behind Thurman, and of course the receiver was trying to go back and catch it, but it was too far.
And it brings up fourth down. Penn State passers now are 0 for 5, 0 for 8. And a little end-over-end kick comes wobbling downfield and is killed at the 22-yard line of Boston College. Coming up on ABC's NFL Monday Night Football in Washington, the Atlanta Falcons are the visitors against the Redskins. And the Falcons are having their troubles getting the ball in the end zone right now. And you'll see it here at 9 Eastern Time on ABC Sports, home of Super Bowl 19. Just starting the second quarter of play. Just short of the 23. Flutie gives the ball to Bell. And Ken Bell, replacing Troy Stafford at tailback, and gets it up near the 29. It's a good pickup of about 6 yards on that carry. Duffy Cobbs brought him down.
When your offense cannot protect your passer, which is evident in this first quarter, what do you look for? You look to try to get outside, establish a little running, throw some screens, or roll out with your quarterback if you want to throw the ball. Get outside. Give yourself some more time.
Second down, 4. Bell again got room up the middle. Ken Bell breaks it big. Oh, look out. Dives, touchdown. No flag.
Keith, he made at least 5 people miss it. He stopped, let defensive men go by, 71 yards, 4 or 5 times. It looked like he was going to be tackled. It's as fine a run as you'll ever want to see. And the stadium is very quiet.
Sensational run by Ken Bell. Jack Bicknell yesterday, when asked about the absence of Stratford, said Bell's going to play, and Bell's a player.
There he is, number 24. When you're busy rushing the passer, watch out for the run. And that's what happened to Penn State.
And Kevin Snow in for the extra point try. Got it. With 13 minutes and 28 seconds to play in the first half, a 71-yard bolt by Ken Bell, and Boston College leads it 7-3. Jack Bicknell, the head man of the Eagles, talking yesterday about the injury to Troy Stratford, had this comment on Bell.
Well, Stratford had a hamstring pull, and it's been bothering him. He may be available somewhat in special situations, but the young man who's taking his place, Kenny Bell, is a player, and I believe in Kenny Bell, and so we're going to go get him.
That's the way he is.
And how right he was yesterday and is today. What a run Ken Bell just showed us.
Snow kicks it off. Hangs up there a while, and it is taken by Coates for the Lions. And Jim Coates shakes off one tackler and comes on across the 25.
This touchdown run is something to see. Watch how many people have a chance. It's a fake pass and run. Look at the 2 Penn State players missing there. Now the third man misses him. Now he's on open field. He's not through yet. He cuts to the right. Now watch him cut back to the left and out make two other Penn State. One falls down on the grass, and watch this dive. Watch the dive. He wants that end zone, leaves his feet, and breaks the goal line clean. What a play.
It's one of the better runs you'll ever see. Just over the 25. First down for Penn State. Strang gives that ball off to Smith, the fullback, and he's got one going. Up near the 40 for a first down.
Let's look at the touchdown from a different angle. What a run this is. How many people from Penn State missed the tackle right there? Another one with a good block. Couldn't see who it was. A good cut. Look at the awareness, the instincts that he has to make people, to give himself the runner advantage and put the tackler in
I like this, though, right here.
That's a tremendous effort. Like sliding in head first to home plate.
Ball is on the 39. First down for the Lions. They're trailing 7-3 now. That's Rocky Washington going in motion. And a handoff goes to Smith again. And Steve Smith, 6'1", 225 junior from Clinton, Maryland, is up just barely to the 40.
Let's take a quick look at watch Phelan, number 20, who's caught 39 passes. He has to block till he recognizes it's a run. He's decoying Cobbs all the way back. Cobbs doesn't even know it's a run yet. Now he thinks, well, gosh, he's blocking me. It must be a run. He delays him just enough, but it's too late for Cobbs to make any effort to make the play.
Second down and 10. And Penn State wants to go to the air with it. Strang's out there, and he has two blockers in front of him, and he gets past the marker. And he's got a first down at midfield.
Carrying the ball for the Lions, number 18, quarterback Doug Strang.
I guess most of the yardage that Penn State has made has been on the quarterback scramble. Strang is big, strong, good runner. Broke containment. I don't know what happened to the Boston College containment, Keith. The end just disappeared.
First down, Penn State. Ball at midfield.
Has Penn State completed a pass yet?
Nope, they have not. This is Dozier. Tough. Double tough. Inside the 10. 41-yard run. First down and goal at the Boston College 9.
This is another sensational run. It's a little counter play. The tackle, Short is leading the play. Watch the not many people that he makes miss. Right there. Stop, start. Good blockers for the Penn State lineman, a downfield leading the ball carrier. Finally, I guess Russell, 45, makes the play. What a run that was.
So the Lions trying to answer now. First and goal at the BC 9. Mumford is in the backfield for Penn State. Strang rolls it out. Wants to throw. Has Washington. He's out of the end zone. Incomplete forward pass. He run out of real estate.
Another option by the quarterback to call first and 9 on the 9-yard line. Pass. They did it before and got stopped, but I guess they're going to try it again. Maybe it's because of the defense that Boston College is playing, but I guess the Strang really makes a bad throw, Keith, because he's throwing off to his heels. Hard to put his zip on the ball when you're retreating. You've got to turn your chest to the receiver and put some steam on it.
They're now 0 for 9 in their passing game, and Dozier comes back into the lineup as the I-back here.
Now they're running.
Go to the short side. And he's at the 6.
Now the 3rd and 6 call is something I never wanted as a coach. It's just one of those tough calls. Do you want to run twice, but they need a touchdown trailing by 4 points. So I guess you put Strang, who hasn't completed a pass, into the position of trying to score the touchdown pass.
Well, they've now brought Seiberling, Brian Seiberling, in at tight end. He's 6'6" and 245 and a good receiver. A little mismatch in the end zone with a tight end that size.
Crossing patterns, and the blitz is coming right here.
Herrera shows blitz and goes and give it to Smith, and he busts it through there for the touchdown.
blocking up the top of your screen. The two seniors over there, Short and Woofter, the two only seniors on the offensive line, open up the hole. Woofter, number 64, didn't even have anybody to block. He just led the ball carrier, Smith, into the end zone.
Nick Gonchitano in for the extra point. He's hit 42 in a row. 10 minutes and 44 seconds to play in the first half. And Penn State has gone back to the lead, 10-7 over Boston College. Massimo Manca will kick it off now for Penn State as the Lions regain the lead 10-7. And the deep people are Steve Williams, 30, and Darren Flutie, 26. And it is Williams at the 2. And comes to about the 22. Where it'll be first down as Penn State goes 74 yards in 7 plays using 2 minutes and 44 seconds. Well, on Thursday, November 15, the United States Olympic boxing medalists will make their professional debut. They include Mark Breland, Tyrell Biggs, Pernell Whitaker, Evander Holyfield. He didn't win the gold, but he became the prime story, if you recall, in the Summer Games, and Meldrick Taylor. So the young men, with all their Olympic success and amateur success, will go to the next level in life. 10:39 to go in the first half, and Boston College gives the ball to Steve Strahan, the fullback. And Steve may not have much of anything out of that, maybe a yard. California out to a 3-0 lead over Washington in the first quarter. Don James changed his quarterback, putting Cicero in replace of Millen, trying to get some offense. And Texas has now finally scored against Texas Tech. And BYU just keeps on flying along. Second down, call it 8. Doug Flutie back. Pressure's on. They've got him back at the 10. Number 46, defensive end, Don Giannetti.
Keith, this is the defensive scheme that Texas uses, meaning those 4 down linemen, they have to get quick penetration, force the quarterback out of the pocket. Flutie gets one look. That's what we talked about. Now he starts trying to scramble, but he has nowhere to go. And finally, Giannetti, who is substituting as a starter today, makes the play. He's substituting for Dan Morgan.
So the Lions back him up to the 10. It's third down and about 22. Out of the shotgun, ball goes to Ken Bell, who is dropped inside the 10 at the 9. There's no place to go as the defensive flows slam the door on the open side of the field.
Those 4 down linemen will get the quick penetration. They're supposed to mess things up. Now, they don't always make the big play. It's kind of like a cockroach. Cockroach doesn't eat a lot, but he sure messes up a lot. That's what those down linemen are doing right now.
One out of the end zone on 4th down by Peach. He doesn't get much carry out of the wind. He didn't get any rotation on the ball. A 32-yard punt, and Jim Coates puts it down for Penn State. First down at the 42. Florida, 3-0. Now, here it has not been confirmed, but my information is the Southeastern Conference, Frank, is not going to let Florida represent the conference in the Sugar Bowl.
Keith, that decision will be reached on Monday. The executive committee, composed of college presidents, will vote whether Florida can, in fact, represent the conference in a bowl, or whether they'll be conference champions if they go undefeated.
Well, the rumble is
they won't approve it.
That's right. Here's Dozier. Off the line of scrimmage. Second down, and still 10.
Good penetration. It's not unusual to see a blitz. You kick the ball short. The opposing team starts with it on your end of the field. Go after them. Gamble. Make something happen in your favor. Boston College did it once again.
The ball is setting just short of the 42 on the BC side. This is Strang rolling out. He had Bellamy. He throws late to Bellamy. Bellamy caught it behind the back and scores a touchdown. Thurman got burned. to go for the interception, and he missed it. Is the first completion of the ball game by a Penn State quarterback. Schaefer started, was 0 for 5 and left. Strang has had his troubles, a couple of long scrambles, and he finally connects as Thurman gambled on the interception, and the ball sailed over his hands, and Bellamy caught it, and the kick is up by Gonchitano, his 43rd straight, and all of a sudden, with 7 minutes and 48 seconds to play in the first half, Penn State's out to a 10-point lead.
I'm Mr. Goodwrench. You know what starts when your engine starts? Engine wear.
50 strokes, 100 strokes, 200 piston strokes of wear per second. Only a fine lubricant can protect it. Like GM Goodwrench Motor Oil, the motor oil from General Motors that meets or exceeds all GM specifications.
Great protection from me, Mr. Goodwrench.
To keep that great GM feeling with genuine GM parts.
People tend to confuse me with the roles I play, which is ridiculous because I'm not a neat freak. For example, I just got a Beta Zoom copier from Minolta, but
came up with 25 points today to edge NC State 35-28 and remain one of a handful of undefeated teams in the country. Penn State leading 17-7, kicks off to Boston College, and handling it Steve Williams. Williams wiggling around for the Eagles, gets back to about the 20.
Returning the kickoff, number 30, Steve Williams.
It's interesting about Doug Strang, number 18, a senior, expecting to have a great year his senior year. Had injuries at running back with Dozier, receivers were inexperienced, and he took all the blame, Keith. He took all the blame of the offense not doing well, and they benched him, and he's come off of that bench and had some great plays. Here is one where Thurman, who has 9 interceptions, number 17, leads the nation in interceptions. He misjudged the ball. Result, a touchdown.
Here goes Ken Bell for Boston College, and from the 21, bolts out to the 27 for 6 yards. Michael Zordich, the tackle for Penn State. Doug Flutie now in the ball game, and give you an idea of the kind of pressure that Penn State's been able to effect on him. He's thrown for 88 yards, but he is minus 22 in the rushing department. That is, he's been sacked.
Only 9 times for the season coming into this game, and he's been sacked 3 times already? 2. But he's been running for his life. They'll be rolling out for their passes.
It's called a second down and 2.5. They go back to Bell, and Bell looks like he should have a first down as he gets up across the 31.
Keith, let me go back and try to explain the Florida situation. NCAA, in penalizing Florida and putting them on sanctions, did not left the option to Florida whether they wanted to start their sanctions at the end of this season or at the very moment they enforced the sanctions. So Florida has that decision, but the Southeastern Conference, in my judgment, won't let them make that decision. They're going to make it for them.
Well, the NCAA can give Florida the option. In fact, they did give them on the basis of appeal. But the conference is still free to take its own action. And that's what's coming up.
On Monday.
On Monday. It is first down. As Flutie sets up the throw, he's got daylight in front of him. And he keeps on scrambling and gets up across the 41. He is hit in the back as he goes out of bounds by Ray Isom, and a penalty flag comes right down on the top of Raymond.
Well, it looked like a spearing. Looked like Flutie was either already out of bounds, and you can see the Isom coming over and apologizing. That's a real act of sportsmanship. Apologizing to Flutie. Let's see, number 22, Isom is coming in. Flutie is, he takes the helmet and uses it as a weapon. That is clearly stated as illegal in the rule book. You cannot use your head, your helmet as a weapon.
Tack on 15 yards.
Isom, I want to repeat, Isom came over and apologized to Flutie, and they shook hands and went back to their respective homes.
Dead ball, personal foul on the defense, first down.
Boston College at the Penn State 43 now, with 6:22 to go in the first half. Lions lead by 10, 17-7. They're double wide up there at the top of the screen.
An unbalanced line, Keith.
And Bell's going that way. He has 3 blockers in front of him. And he picks up about 4 yards. Let's check in with Jim again.
Keith, down in Gainesville, where it is tied up at 3-3, there has been a surprise appearance. Everybody thought Bo Jackson was out for the season when he separated his shoulder against Texas. He entered the game early today. At first, didn't carry the ball, reminiscent of Walker against Clemson 2 years ago. But on the last series, he began to carry the football, and Bo Jackson is back and playing today for Auburn. Back to you.
And the call has settled over Athens. You don't want to see Bo Jackson back. He tore him up a year ago up in Athens against the Bulldogs. This is Ken Bell carrying the ball for Boston College. And the Lions corral him at about the 36. But with Bell's long run, Frank, and with this kind of work now, it's going to make the Penn State defenders think a little bit.
Yes, that's the purpose of making some yards running. Conlon, number 31, is their leading tackler. Runs a 4.5. Just a superior football player. He forces the play. Gieselman, no, I guess that's Murphy, 87, making the block. Forces him outside, and a good cut by Bell.
Bell is now 9 carries for 92 yards in the ball game. And it's 3rd down and 3 for Boston College. Flutie's pass. They've got a penalty flag down here. Hang on. It involved Bell and a defender.
It looked like it might have been, just might have been on Bell, but I don't know.
They were both
wrestling. Yep. Boston College is pointing like it's on Penn State. Yes, it is. All right, that's pass interference. That's at the spot. Not a 15-yard penalty. That's at the spot, but a first down, automatic first down.
Pass interference on the defense. First down.
Pass interference rules this year have 2 areas. If the ball is thrown more than 15 yards, it's only a 15-yard penalty from the line of scrimmage. Less than 15 yards at the spot of the foul and first down.
And the ball is resting just inside the Penn State 30 now. As Darren Flutie goes in motion. Doug back to throw. Steps up and he has some daylight. They almost stripped the ball away from him, and he winds up picking up about 4 yards as he runs close to the 25.
The Penn State backs are doing an excellent job of covering the Boston College receivers, plus the initial pressure from the offensive line. That's just pretty played as you can have and expect on a great player like Doug Flutie.
See if they run Bell on 2nd down and 5. Nope, they'll send him up into a slot. Yeah, Flutie keeps it. Looked like he wanted to run an option play, and the man that messed it up was Dan Giannetti, the defensive end, who penetrated and stepped in between Flutie and Bell, and he sealed off that, so Doug pulled it down and got a couple of yards.
Well, you did call it properly. It was an option play. Flutie runs one every once in a while. He caught the defense playing pass. Had he been able to get the pitch, it would have been a touchdown. Would have been a touchdown.
So it's 3rd and 4. Crowd trying to help the Penn State defense here. Lions are bouncing around, and Flutie drops straight back. Shoots one, first down. Penn State 11, Gerard Phelan, a man again.
What did Joe say yesterday, Paterno? When Flutie scrambles, get a hold of Phelan and hold on to it. But they don't do it. Right here, they let him work into the open. He comes back. He's wide open, and Doug has to scramble, and he catches the ball, cradles it in, low, outside pitch. Hard to hit, hard to catch, but Phelan pulled it in.
Now we've got Tyrone Taylor, number 21, in there at the I-back spot. First time we've seen him today. And it's first down Boston College at the Penn State 11, and Taylor, a cold player coming off the bench. Ball is pitched back to him, and it goes right straight to the ground. He covered the ball.
Keith, I had a rule, if I was putting it back into the ball game fresh and never played it down, I wouldn't give him the ball for my life. But, of course, I'm a little concerned. Let him take a blow or something, but I guess they had to rest Bell. Maybe Bell was so tired and Stratton was hurt. They had to give him the ball, even though he hadn't played it down.
3 minutes to go in the first half. Loss on the play is 3 yards. Back to the 14, and Bell is back in. Pressure's coming, and Flutie slips and falls down. He's down at that point. They're scrambling all over the place for the ball, but that's incidental.
Keith, you talked last week about the cleats. Tell the people why it's hard for players to stand up on grass today.
Well, they'll use that half-inch cleat.
That half-inch cleat, that's right. The half-inch cleat is just not effective on the grass. You can see Flutie loses his balance completely. Now, I'm going to tell you, his knee touches and the ball is dead right there.
Yep.
Good call by the official.
Back on the 22-yard line. Clock running at 2:15 to go, and it is 3rd down now. They can get a first down at the 1. Or it's 3rd and 21.
Here's the blitz.
Out of the shotgun. They're trying to nullify the blitz. A pass is thrown to Gieselman. And Gieselman hot-fingered it a little bit, but controlled it in time and goes out of bounds at about the 15. And let's see if that'll get Kevin Snow in. I haven't seen him warming. Yeah, there he is. Here he comes.
Once again, the pressure forced Flutie to throw to the short man to keep from being sacked. The deep men did not have time to maneuver and get open.
That's a fair-sized fistfight going on along those trenches.
Yes, it is.
Front four.
Front four doing their job.
32-yard field goal try by Kevin Snow. He's 2 out of 2 between the 30 and the 40. He hammers it up, and he got it. Boy, I want to tell you, that thing came back like a bullet. Phelan got it down, and he kicked it before it hit the tee. But it works. You've got 1 minute and 57 seconds to play in the first half. Doug Flutie, well, here's what Joe Paterno says about him.
I think he's probably one of the most amazing athletes, amazing football players we have ever played against in the 35 years I've been at Penn State. And I don't want to get a plug-in for any one particular individual, but if ever a kid deserved the Heisman Trophy, I think he's the kid that deserves it. He's everything that's good about football. Great athlete, great competitor, and a really fine young man.
I would agree with that.
I would too, and that's praise, high praise indeed, from one of the great statesmen of our profession.
Both teams with their 3 timeouts remaining as Snow kicks off. 17-10 Penn State, and the Lions run together back there on the 2. Woods and Coates, and Coates just dropped up around the 11.
Keith, Boston College has 3 timeouts, and I would look for them to try to call timeout after at least 2 of these plays, hoping they can have at least a minute, because Penn State, if they can stop it, will be kicking into a strong wind.
You'll enjoy that feature on Mississippi Valley State from Itty Bitty Itabena.
What? Is that where they're moving that ball so much, Keith?
Yeah, no huddles, just swinging away, throw.
I want to see that myself. They're averaging over 600 yards a game or something.
The Gunslingers, Mr. Totten and company. First down. They'll call it the 12-yard line. It's closer there. And Penn State goes to its ground game with Steve Smith carrying. And the fullback is held pretty much at the line of scrimmage. Now watch this. Watch this, how quick this ball just comes shooting back from Bicknell. Now watch Snow. He's moving, and you see the snap's a little bit off target. Phelan's got it on his right shoulder pad, and Snow's already on his way. Now,
Keith, that's a great point that you're making there. We researched the only 9 straight-ahead kickers in Division I football. Out of 103 place kickers for teams in America, only 9 are kicking straight ahead. I don't believe a person who kicks from the front would have gotten the ball between the uprights on that particular
Gerard just barely got it down low enough for Snow to hit it. Lucky he didn't lose a finger.
When you hit it from the side, you hit it with most of your foot, and the ball doesn't have to be a perfect hold. But Phelan deserves a great deal of credit. It was a bad snap.
Boston College has called timeout. Go back in history when Tony Franklin and Russell Erxleben were kicking down the Southwest Conference, and somebody did a wind tunnel study on them, and they found that Erxleben, the bigger man but a straight ahead kicker, hit the ball. He was about, if I remember, 93 miles an hour over the first meter. But Tony Franklin, kicking barefooted on the other hand, and a much smaller man in size, his first meter was like 101, 102 miles an hour in velocity. So the velocity can be more pronounced the greater amount of foot, I guess, you get on it, and leg whip or speed.
You get your body into it, but the sideline that gets his body into the foot swing.
2nd down and 8 now. The ball is out near the 13. Doug Strang looks upfield and throws quickly, and the pass is complete to number 26, Kevin Campbell, a senior from McLean, Virginia. The ball is up around the 26, and that will be a first down for Penn State with 1:43 to go now in the first half.
That's something that Boston College should have never given, just a little rollout pass, something Penn State does when they have to have a pass. And Russell or Eiten, I couldn't tell which was the defensive back, just gave way too much cushion. Let the safety man back him up and take that sideline pass away from him.
Yeah, with less than 2 minutes to go, you don't want to be giving up any more points at this juncture in the first half.
That's a good point, but I'd let the safety man help behind him.
This is Smith. And he gets outside for another Penn State first down. He's tough, right?
Well, the coaches feel at Penn State feel that he is a real solid player, big and fast, and going to be one of the kind of fullbacks that you need.
Florida State still to play. They play at Arizona State in Tempe tonight. South Carolina had to take a lot of deep breaths today before they finally squeezed out a 35-28 win to remain undefeated, and they had to score 25 points in the 4th quarter to do it. And what a story the Gamecocks have become.
Didn't the Gamecocks score something like 28 points against Notre Dame in the last half to win that football game?
Right. The Fire Ants, they steam and scrap. And Strang looks deep, goes deep, and incomplete, intended for Campbell. And you got a penalty flag back at the line of scrimmage.
That's a 10-yard penalty. I would accept the penalty. The downs do not make any difference now. The clock is what's important. Just moving back 10 yards further.
1:28 remaining in the first half. Well, you take away that touchdown where Thurman tried for the interception, and the ball sailed over his hands, and you'd have a tie going into the locker room. But
holding on the offense. First down.
Keith, I think Thurman just was seeing his 10th interception of the year.
I think so.
He just came up. He had a bird nest on the ground. He just flat misjudged the pass.
Well, he's an aggressive player. It's what makes him a good player, too, is
he
because
made that
of that
great play again, turned the game around against Alabama with Alabama leading 31-14. He intercepted a pass and went on all BC.
So it's first down and 20 for Penn State now. Strang has a little trouble getting the snap and then hands it off to Dozier. And DJ is brought down back of the line of scrimmage at the 24. Chuck Gorecki, the defensive play for the Eagles. Time call. Boston College trying to kill the clock and get it back. And while we wait, let's look at BC. 3:30 start of the proceedings and a 3:50 kickoff. It has now grown quite dark here at Beaver Stadium, and I guess this is the first time that the new lights have been used, isn't it?
It is, Keith, and new lights for a stadium like this, I priced them myself about an $800,000 investment. But they do a great job. They're the 4 towers, it seems, on the ends of the field. That's the newest thing. You don't have to put them above the stadium like our old complexes had.
Second down. About 26 for the first down, and Penn State gives to Dozier. Lions now, what with the holding call and the loss by Dozier, seemingly content to run out the time. But once again, Boston College calls timeout with 1:15, and here's a look at the Penn State campus.
Penn State produces winners. Like this Skylab pilot. He commanded the first flight of the shuttle orbiter Challenger. Like America's first black astronaut, he flew on Challenger as a mission specialist. And like the country's top student of space research, she won the National Space Club's Goddard Scholarship. Penn State, proud of our winning tradition.
Well, let's see now. It's third down. They take one more snap. Boston College now has spent its timeouts. So that means they're going to have, what, a half a minute when
About
they get the ball
minute,
back?
Keith. 15 seconds maybe, or 10 seconds to run the play. Then they have 25 seconds to put it into play before they end the punt. So 20 to 25 seconds, I would guess.
And they'll undoubtedly
run it. I would think they'd put it in play and stop the clock.
Wouldn't you load up and try to block it too?
Oh, yes, very definitely. And Boston College has tried. And remember, they roughed the kicker on the first time against West Virginia. The first time they tried to block the Auburn.
So the first thing is to handle the lines, and Strang rolling out, gets to the corner, and they've got him. Bring him down at about the 31-yard line.
They should have let him
fourth down.
They should have let him go out of bounds.
Yep, should have. Let's check in for a moment with Tim Brandt.
Keith, you mentioned that the sun had gone down and starting to get dark here, and the lights were on. Well, the temperature is also dropping very rapidly, and I think the players now are starting to feel that very, very cold weather. Right now, let's go back upstairs, Keith.
In comes the punting unit. I admire the way you're able not to keep your teeth from chattering.
They're going to try to block him, Keith, it appears. Most of the people, 10 of them up on the line.
Martin is the lone man back for Boston College. And Penn State willing to take the 5-yard penalty for delay of the game in order to run that much more time off the clock, which now shows 26 seconds to play in the first half. 17 to 10, Penn State has the lead.
The clock will start on the snap, not when referee finishes the penalty.
Delay game, offense, fourth down.
No pressure on him. Bruno gets it out of there, and he runs Martin back to his 27, and he steps out of bounds at the 26. And you've got 20 seconds to go now. And again, Tim.
Keith, we were talking about the cold weather. The other point I wanted to make was all the coaches on the Boston College side had drawn all the players together and really gave them a pep talk saying, remember Alabama, remember Alabama. They are really concerned, as you and Frank have mentioned all the way through this game, about the psychological factor. They haven't beaten Penn State that often, and trailing here by 7, and before that it was even more, they don't want their kids to get down mentally. So they're really pumping them up and trying to remember that Alabama game where they came back in the second half.
Plus the fact that Penn State has been able to effect so much defensive pressure with those 4 defensive linemen. So with 20 seconds, Flutie goes to work from his 21. Gives the ball off to Bell, who pops through the line, and Ken is up across the 30 to the 33. They tried to catch Penn State in a blitz with the linebackers dropping off to short zones, and didn't work. As the clock now is going to run out, and the 2 teams will go to the clubhouse at halftime, with Penn State holding a 17-10 lead over Boston College. And here's Tim now with Coach Joe Paterno.
All right, leading by 7. I know you're happy with that first half. The kids got off well and really played well defensively.
Well, I think we're doing a pretty good job, and those penalties are killing us, though, and the whole drive down there was a series of penalties. But we're playing good aggressive football, and we've got to keep the pressure on Doug if we're going to stay in the ballgame.
Joe, it looks to me like you've done that by walking your linebackers up. You're overloading up there, and they're coming free.
Well, we're trying to blitz a little bit inside, but then he started to run outside on us, so we had to change our pattern a little bit. We just got to keep guessing with him.
1 pass, 1 touchdown. I know you like that.
Well, yeah, sometimes.
All right, Joe Paterno, Penn State leading 17-10 here at half. We'll be back with our halftime activities after this commercial message and a word.
Just like for Boston College, but Boston College is not normal. They got Doug Flutie, and he's going to be harassed and pressured more, I think, than he's ever been before. And if he doesn't make the big plays, they've got very for Boston College, but Boston College is not normal. They got Doug Flutie, and he's going to be harassed and pressured more, I think, than he's ever been before. And if he doesn't make the big plays, they've got very little chance to win this game.
But he's going to have to throw the football out of a crowd of people. He is not going to be left alone. We know that.
One look and sometimes just a half a look and throwing, rolling, and scrambling, trying to run for his life. A perfect defensive plan. Only Doug Flutie could keep him in the ball game.
Well, they broke the one big play by Bell, but other than that, the running has not been that much.
Those four defensive men are penetrating and causing problems. Bell's run was an individual effort. You tell your defense, don't worry about that. He wouldn't make that run again in 15 years, and he probably wouldn't. No one else would. Stick to our game plan. We are pressuring him, and we're doing exactly what we wanted to do.
I know this is probably, in the case of Doug, an unfair thing to say, but if he does pull this ball game out, I think that'll lock the Heisman Trophy for him. If he doesn't, it may still be alive.
Well, he's my Heisman Trophy choice because I've seen him for 3 years, and I think that goes into the voting of many people. He's just a phenomenal football player. But if he pulls this out, it's going to be by his individual effort with a little help from his team.
Okay, now let's spend a moment with the Penn State Marching Band.
Stadium with BC head coach Jack McNell. We were just talking that you take those two plays away and it's been all your ball game pretty much.
Well, we're playing well. We're playing awfully tight. I don't know why. I mean, we're not tight anymore. I think we'll come out and play a lot better this half, but it's a heck of a football game.
Jack, now, we were talking about this with Joe earlier. They were giving you some problems walking that linebacker up, and they were overloading and coming free on Doug.
Well, they're putting some pressure, but we thought they would, and we got some hots ready for that, too, so hopefully we can guess right with them this half.
Real quick before we start, what's a hot?
Well, if they got too many guys, you get the ball to somebody else.
2 men on me, Keith. Somebody's got to be free. Back up to you.
Yeah, but you talk funny anyhow, walking up linebackers and all that kind of stuff. I think probably the ball game, a goodly portion of this ball game might swing right here, because Penn State is going to have the first possession. And in many instances, the first possession of a second half can dictate the tone of the second half. That is, disallowing the probability of mistakes and turnovers and those kind of things. So the one thing that would be to Penn State's fortune would be to take this ball and have a controlled march. So let's see what happens as Coates comes from his 6 and keeps on going all the way to the Boston College 35.
Here it is again. All the ball carrier wants is a crack, and once he sees that crack, he really, really turns it on. Well, that's the big hole. That's more than just a crack. And he turns it right on, and finally, I guess it's Russell, 45, that knocks him out of bounds.
Does that remind you of something? Remember, Jack Bicknell was talking to Tim Brandt in the Alabama game, and he finished the interview and looked up, and there went Kerry Good for a touchdown. And it was almost a replay, wasn't it? All right, Penn State at the Boston College 35. First down for the Lions. They lead by 7 and give the ball to Steve Smith, and he's on the way. So it's not just the BC defensive people that wanted to come out ferocious and hitting. It's the Penn State offense. And it's another first down at the Boston College 12.
Smith goes right out the back door. Harrington is blocked all the way across and could not make the play. Russell, 45, has the blocker on him. He gets knocked out of the way. Finally, Thurman helps on the tackle.
And Smith now with 6 to 7 yards on 8 carries in the ball game. First down for the Lions. A big kickoff return, giving them field position. Strang starting at quarterback, gives to Smith. Smith picking his way, goes inside the 5, fights his way down to the 1. Well, the BC defense is being sorely tested. Thomas is out of there with a pulled hamstring. Nickerson in. Harrington at tackle. Mike Ruth at nose guard. And John Bosa at the other tackle. With the linebackers available for this game, Chuck Gorecki, a defensive end. The linebackers are Ed Van Essen and Peter Holy, with Andy Hemmer getting a lot of playing time. The ball is inside the 2 for Penn State, and it's first and goal to go. This is the one thing that if you're a Boston College fan, you had to worry about. And it's happening to them. Sprang turns and gives inside, and it's touchdown Steve Smith. And in comes Gacitano now for the extra point try. Blocked. Had a little trouble with a snap, never got it up. And his string is broken at 43 in a row as Garrick McPherson comes in. And they had trouble getting, Nirza had trouble getting the ball down. And they block it. And so it's a 23-10 football game. But, Frank Broyles,
that's something that Boston College certainly didn't want. And what's the surprise and effects of the kickoff? The offensive line of Penn State, Short, Woofter, Hayden, Perot, and Conlon just blew the defense out of there, and Smith took it in. And here's the fumble snap right here, and who's that?
McPherson.
McPherson, 49, came in and blocked him.
So we've hardly had time to get your chair warm, and Penn State's built its lead now to 13.
Boy, that Smith is a good-looking fullback. Number 33 weighs 225. Watch him twist and turn, keep his feet going. Has some good blocking and into the goal line, over the goal line for the touchdown.
Here's the kickoff. Now let's see if the Eagles can answer as Williams has it. Goes to the outside and gets out to the 22. Penn State's defensive unit is headed by Don Giannetti, who had a big first half for them. Mike Russo is the tackle at 260. Todd Moulds has played a lot of positions. He's 260. Bob White, 235 at end. At linebacker U, these fellows are prominent people. Shane Conlon, leading tackler. Masi Antonio and Don Graham, the linebackers. Doug Flutie now trying to get the offense going for Boston College, and a whistle's going to stop them.
They're going to start with 1st and 15, which is a tough break. You don't need that against this Penn State defense. You don't need penalties. That just puts you in the hole.
That's a procedure call. The Penn State secondary people are Chris Sidner, 6-footer, 195. Lance Hamilton, 5'11", 185. They're the corners. Michael Zorich is your safety man at 205. And Ray Isom, the free safety, he weighs in at 175. So Penn State opens the second half with a bang-bang touchdown. And now it's 1st and 15 as the ball comes back to the 17. Flutie back. Has time, but nobody to throw to, and Fry looking deep downfield. Couldn't find Martin nor Phelan, and finally dumped to Bell, and he couldn't get it to him. There's the starting offensive unit. That'll be the same unit for Boston College that started the football game. 13:15 to go in the third quarter, and 23-10, Penn State. Second down, 15. Flutie's pass is away. Martin has it. And Kelvin Martin has a first down at midfield for Boston College.
Keep a run-and play fake. Held the defense momentarily. They're going to fake the Bell off tackle. Even though it's not much of a fake, it holds the defense just enough. Martin gets on the post route. What a strike this is. What a throw it is. Look there. 82 Martin is right there in between the cornerback and the safety man, and he's tough to get down.
Ball is right at midfield. Flutie back, gets it off to Phelan, and Phelan is down at the Penn State 30. A pickup of 20 on that shot.
It takes a great passer to throw this route. This is a curl inside to the post, The ball is right on target, hitting a moving receiver. Phelan coming to the inside the halfback. Watch this cut. The ball is released before Phelan cuts to the inside, inside the halfback, front of the safety.
And that passes Jim McMahon. Doug Flutie is now your career total offense leader in Division 1A football. Flutie pitches that ball to Ken Bell. Bell trying to go outside. They hem him in and they turn him back into traffic, and he'll get 1 yard. Doug now has 9,730 yards in his career. If he doesn't get hurt, Frank, he's going to pass 10,000.
Well, I agree with everything that Joe Paterno said about him. And I want to emphasize again, if those of you that joined us later, he commented that Doug is not only a great player, the best that he's ever faced as a quarterback, but he is what college really represents as a person, and he is his candidate for the Heisman.
That's Mark McDonald, offensive tackle, shaken up, and he'll have to come out of the ball game at least for a moment.
And McDonald's injury against West Virginia, where he didn't play, was a key in the pass protection in that ball game. Congratulations to Doug Flutie as he passes the back.
Might like to take a timeout here and give him the ball, but they can't afford to spend a timeout. Trailing by 13 points. It's second down and still about 10. Ball just inside the Penn State 30. Flutie back, pressure's coming from the backside. Shot down the middle to Phelan. They're going to wave it off. They're going to say no, he trapped it.
Boy, Doug Flutie throws the ball. Phelan is working in behind the linebackers in front of the safety. Here again, it takes a great arm and tremendous accuracy. Let's see what it is. That's very close. Well, you can't see it conclusively. He had the ball in his hands, but what happened when he turned over? Maybe the officials could see it.
They've announced the crowd, too. 85,690. 85,690, and there are about 24,000 automobiles parked around the stadium. It's the fourth largest in Beaver Stadium history. Third down and still close to 10. Runs away from it and goes right up the middle for a first down. Inside the 15, inside the 14, and Flutie is shaken up. He's a tough little guy.
Keith, the difference on Flutie on this play is he doesn't slide. He knows he's got to have the first down. Remember, it's third down and long. He sees the gap as a containment. Zardich tries to cut. Watch him. This is not a slide in. Watch. He's going over just like Bell did for the touchdown. Look at that. He's got to make the first down, and he does. And falls right there on his left shoulder, which is the one that he has hurt. That's right.
So first down and 14 at the first down and 10 at the Penn State 14, and Ken Bell. And Bell is down to the 5 for 9 yards on that carry. So Boston College trying almost desperately here to answer Penn State's charge out of the blocks in the second half.
What a great call that first down was, in the fact that it let Bell get outside, Keith, of all those 4 big rushes, and he made a big gain.
They've got 2 tight ends in the lineup now as Brendan Murphy comes in. And Sean Murphy. Peter Casparello has been made into a fullback this past week. And they give it up the middle to Steve Strahan. And Strahan diving over the top, trying for his first down, may very well have it. Looks like they've spotted him close to the 3. And that'll be first and goal, Boston College.
Now, if you have to run the ball inside the 5, first down and 3 is a very preferable one. You get 4 downs to make 3 yards, and Strahan is the designated jumper. 6'6" or 6'7" in high school. He scored a lot of touchdowns going over the top.
10.5 minutes to go in the third quarter.
Been a Flutie drive, hasn't he?
Yep. Penn State's got 9 people up on the line of scrimmage. Give it to Bell, and Bell sticks his head in the stack. And not much.
They're going to try to go over the top, I think. I believe they're trying to get close enough that Strahan can go over the top and possibly get the touchdown. They're not close enough yet. They're still, what, Keith, 3?
Well, yeah.
3. Yeah,
sure.
They are 3. Right on 3. They didn't make anything.
Gain a thing.
Nope. Bell's not the goal line runner. He's the darter. He's the one that can dart and stop and start. They need some power down here. Their hands are fullback. Watch the pass.
Bell coming to the left. Well, he's down close to the 1.
It's a long one, too, Keith.
That was Don Graham and Chris Sidner that led the defensive charge for Penn State.
In fact, it's going to be close to the... No, it's just a good one. Now, 2 downs. Strahan can go over the top. He's good at it. Let's see what they decide to do.
Let that Graham come across there and stack that up, number 53 in the blue shirt.
2 tight ends, and they better hurry. They don't want to get a 5-yard penalty here.
Well, they've got 10 seconds left. Crowd isn't going to help them. This is Bell, drops the football, and Penn State may have it. Penn State covers the drop football. Bell dropped the pitch out.
The pitch out, the sweep, they were trying to go wide. Bell catches the ball, looks at it momentarily, then picks up to see the cut. Now all he wants to do is get the ball back. He falls on it, but he doesn't get it. Russo recovers it, number 67.
8:50 to go as Boston College drives down to the shadow of the goal line and can't put it in. Boston College has had a long march, turned away with no points. And Penn State takes over at their own 5. Schaefer started at quarterback. Strang replaced him, and Strang is still in there. And they give the ball off to Steve Smith. And Smith hammers out across the 10 to the 11. Another look at the fumble now. Third down.
Keep the tailback, Bell. He looks at the ball, and now he turns his head to see where he wants to go. But he turned his head before he had the ball caught and tucked away. That is something that you just hope and drill and school your tailbacks not to do. The ball is laying there. Russo, 67, recovers.
Second down, 4 for Penn State. This is DJ Dozier for a couple of yards. It'll bring up 3rd and short, and here's Jim.
Well, in the year of living dangerously for the Texas Longhorns, another great escape. They got 2 field goals from Jeff Ward in the last 2 minutes and 26 seconds of the game. The second one, a 35-yarder with 3 seconds on the clock to escape from Lubbock with a 13-10 victory. Texas remains one of 5 unbeaten teams in major college football and still the inside track to Cotton. Keith?
Thank you, Jim. Here's Dozier now on 3rd and 2, and the Eagles get him short of the line of scrimmage. A great play by Rick Nickerson, a defensive end. Number 15, he's the man who replaced David Thomas when Thomas pulled the hamstring. And so it brings up 4th down and a yard for Penn State, and Penn State will punt.
As we look at Joe Paterno, he's disgusted on 3rd and 1 or 2. He couldn't make the first down. Nicholson, as we look back on it, Keith, if Boston College wins, that may be the most critical play of the game. Stopping and forcing the punt.
They should have pretty good field position out of this as Bruno comes in now. And Kelvin Martin is deep. Not a particularly good kick by Bruno either. It takes a soft bounce straight up in the air, now rolls in Penn State's favor. But Boston College has the football, first down at their own 48 after a 38-yard punt. Doug Flutie yesterday had this comment when I asked him how he felt Penn State would try to defend.
Last year, they came at us in the second half of the ball game. First half, they sat back a little bit and put some points on the board. Second half, they came after us and were successful. And they've seen West Virginia has been successful against us coming after us, so I tend to believe they might come after us a little bit out of it. And I have a lot of faith in the offensive line as far as picking stunts up. And if you're going to come after us, it's a gamble. We may get you with the big play. You may make a big play, but when we make the big play, it's usually 6 points.
Well, his prognosis has proven correct. But the 2 long drives by BC and getting no points out of them are hurting them right now. As Flutie goes to pass. Oh boy, he's lucky to get that ball back because number 45, Lance Hamilton, the cornerback, covering Kelvin Martin, almost had one.
Tremendous break on the ball by number 45 you're looking at. He played the deep man, and then when the ball was thrown, he broke in front of the receiver and had his hands on it, just couldn't hold it.
And at 6:50 to go in the 3rd quarter, it's 2nd down and 10. Boston College at their 48, with Penn State leading 23-10. Flutie slipped a little bit when he delivered the pass, but he gets it downfield to his brother Darren, and Darren pulls it down for a first down at the Penn State 38-yard line.
What Boston College strategy to help protect Flutie, they're putting a double wing, which takes an extra man, Keith, out of the rush and let the fullback just stay there and pick up anybody that comes loose. This is giving Flutie a little bit more time.
You wonder about his strength. His right foot slid out from under him that time when he stepped in to throw, but he still was strong enough to deliver the ball on target. Pressure from the backside. No chance against that. Ball rolled loose. They call it a fumble. I thought they're going to call it dead, but they call it a fumble as number 31 came whistling in there, Shane Conlon, and hit him. The ball rolled loose, and Garrett recovered it.
From the top of your screen, unblocked, an extra blitz. The same play, the same actual number, Small, made this play in the West Virginia game that turned the game around. 30 Conlon makes the play, knocks the ball loose. Penn State has it.
So the defense of Penn State makes another big play in the game.
Today's cars do things yesterday's cars didn't.
Please fasten seat.
By today, but they're undefeated, and we'll see them next week against Florida State. Both Boston College fumbles in this half, particularly damaging for them because here's the pass down the field by Strang, incomplete, intended for Bellamy. That time he was pretty well covered by Todd Russell. But to drive 77 yards and fumble it away, this last fumble by Flutie now was a result of a great play by Conlon.
One was a caused fumble, the last one, but as Keith mentioned, the other was just one you gave him by fumbling the pitch out on the sweep from the 2-yard line. Something that when you fail to get it in against Penn State, you really reduce your chances. Yes.
6:16 to go in the third quarter, and the handoff goes to Steve Smith. The line of scrimmage is the BC 49, and it's still the 49 as we go to Tim Brant.
Keith, I talked to Doug Flutie when he came off after that last series when he was sacked and he dropped the football for the fumble. He said he's slipping a lot. He's wearing AstroTurf cleats. He doesn't have the 7-prong cleat that you usually wear on the natural surface. Instead, he's wearing the ones that he wears on the AstroTurf, and it's slipping a little bit. But he says he's not going to change shoes.
Wonder why?
Wonder why. I agree.
Third down and 10. BC defense trying to hold on to Penn State right here. Strang drops back and goes down the middle, but it was dropped. It's dropped. He had Dean DiMedio. He had the ball right in Dean's stomach, and for some reason it squirted out of there.
It's a good throw. Good fake with the draw play to Dozier, and DiMedio is the end right in between. The linebackers hits him right on the numbers. It goes right through. You got to catch the ball in your hands, then cradle it. Ball hit his chest and came out.
Bruno in to punt. Obviously, he wants to hit a knuckleball down there that'll get killed deep, but instead, Kelvin Martin steps up and makes a fair catch for Boston College at the 16. Not particularly good field position for a team trailing by 13 points. Boston College comes up now, first down at their 16 with 5.5 minutes to go in the third quarter. Flutie back, no pressure this time. Passes away to the sidelines, and Kelvin Martin can't pull it down. It's incomplete.
And Martin slipped down. I wonder if he's wearing the same AstroTurf cleats as Flutie. Those molded cleats are just about good distance less than half an inch, and it's just hard to stand up. Substantially less is what I should say. Don't grab that grass.
Second and 10.
Here's the blitz.
Tough to hear. They pick up the blitz as Flutie rolls out. Nobody to throw it to. Now he gets it off, and it is incomplete. Bell had a shot at it, and Ken Bell couldn't pull it down. So it is third and 10. The average starting field position for Boston College in this game has been its own 20, while Penn State's average starting position has been the 41.
Don't score over once or twice when you start on your 20-yard line during an entire ball game. You can see the time Penn State had faked the blitz, come out of it. But watch Bell right here. Had he been able to hold this, it would have been a foot race to the goal line between he and Ison, 22.
They're in the shotgun now. Pick up the blitz. Flutie's pass. Phelan. And he pulls it in at the 32-33. And it's a Boston College first down. So they're off the hook one more time.
Phelan has the best knack of catching the low ball where concentration is so important. You have to look the ball in. You can't just look it in your hands. He looks that ball right in and cradles it. Doesn't let the ground knock it out.
Gerard's caught 5 now for 68 yards. And a first down for Boston College. Deep. Darren Flutie has it. He's loose. Ison is the only man that has a shot at him, and he got him.
Somebody busted from Penn State their defensive assignment. I've never seen a man so wide open as Flutie was, Darren's brother, Doug's brother. Watch him. Let's see what happens on him. Now the Cobbs releases him to the safety. Where is the safety? Finally, Zordich comes across and he misses the tackle, and Doug Flutie's younger brother makes a great run and puts him back close to the goal line.
It is first down Boston College at the Penn State 14.
There's a Penn State man running across the field. Well,
he's not a man, he's an idiot. So we'll get that clown out of the ball game and we'll go on with it. We have some information now on John Schaefer, who was apparently poked in the eye, the left eye, in the first quarter and lost peripheral vision. So that's primarily, I suppose, the reason that Schaefer did not return to the ball game. Too bad.
It is. John Schaefer is from Mola High School, where Jerry Faust from Notre Dame made such a great record.
All right, it's first down for the Eagles at the Lions 14. 23-10, Lion lead, blitz on, pass away. Gieselman has one hand on it, but can't pull it in. Shane Conlon puts Doug Flutie down. Out on the West Coast, Washington out to a big halftime lead. Huskies are undefeated, ranked #1. Texas pulled one out by 3 points on a couple of field goals late in the ball game, and BYU rolling now in the WAC with Nebraska winning big again today. And it's second down and 10 at the 14.
Nebraska's got it rolling right now.
Well, they do. They give it a Strahan. Strahan breaks it. Touchdown.
There are no flags.
Well, that's a play we expected Strahan to see the ball. The last time they were now knocking on the door. This time he gets it and sticks it in the end zone.
Watch the block. You can see the blitz. Once you split the blitz, and Strahan gets hit the line of scrimmage by someone over there, I guess 67, Russo, but he wouldn't go down. Look at those legs. He's driving. Boy, he sees that goal line. Ooh, is he happy.
And now Snow's trying to make it a 6-point difference. They had a fumble snap, Penn State did, and had the extra point try blocked. Might come back to haunt them. The kick is good with 4 minutes and 5 seconds to play in the third quarter. It is now a 6-point ball game.
Equals that where did they take over the ball? On the 16-yard line?
16-yard line.
84 yards.
Kozar big day as Miami rolls along. They have 2 losses, but still have to be considered one of the best in the country. Georgia winning today. And one of the stunners of the day, George Welch's Cavaliers of Virginia beat West Virginia by 20.
And Virginia's won 6 and lost 1 and tied 1.
Next Saturday here on ABC, the undefeated Gamecocks of South Carolina. One of the great stories of the 1984 season against the Florida State Seminoles with Bobby Bowden. What a job. You know about coaches doing a job. Joe Morrison came into South Carolina, moving over from UT Chattanooga.
And New Mexico.
And New Mexico.
Right.
And has really built a program.
Well, South Carolina's one of 4 undefeated football teams left. And untied, I should say. Defeated and untied. In the country.
We'll have a look at them next week against the most worthy opponent in Florida State. Bouncing kickoff. Bobbled around a little bit, rolling on the ground, and finally Penn State covers it on the 22. Bill Emerson finally covered it for him.
There's the drive. 84 yards, 6 plays. Strahan going right up the middle on a 2nd and 10, split the blitz, and had, after he was hit at the line of scrimmage, he just walked in for the touchdown. Oh, he
stormed in.
Stormed in, yeah.
You remember that Strahan broke a 24-yarder against West Virginia on the same kind of a play. Just ran right through tacklers and scored from 24 yards out against the Mountaineers. That's the only loss that Boston College has on the season, 21-20. Florida's leading Auburn in the 4th quarter, 10-3. And here comes Steve Smith breaking to the outside. And Smith is really having a big night. He moves now ahead of Dozier, unless this penalty wipes it out.
Well, the Penn State team are moving back, Keith, so I guess they know what happened.
Prior to that carry, they've got a holding call against Penn State. Prior to that carry, Smith and Dozier both had 83 yards on the ground for the Lions.
Well, that Smith is a good-looking fullback. You know, he
really
scored a touchdown against the blitz against West Virginia last week from about 25 yards. Boy, Jerry Burt's done a great job at the University of Pennsylvania. What a coach he is.
Holding. Offense. First down.
That was a break for Boston College. They had a first down, and now they've got Penn State back on their, their 14, Keith?
Yeah, it's closer to the 15.
Yeah.
They've got to go out just beyond the 32. So they need 17 yards now with first down. Georgia Tech. Duke had so many people hurt they couldn't even practice last Monday and Tuesday, I guess. Wisconsin had Iowa down 10-0 in their ball game before the Hawks came back to tie it. Ohio State up and down, and Purdue, look at that. 31-29, good ball game there. All right, first down and 17 for Penn State as Doug Strang rolls it out. He pulled it down and committed himself to the run, and that accelerated the effort of Chuck Gorecki, and he tackles him for a loss. Again, here's Jim.
On a Neil Anderson touchdown run, Florida has taken a 10-3 lead over Auburn in the 4th quarter. Just to reiterate what I said in pregame with confirmation from the Florida press box, there will be no meeting necessarily this week of SEC athletic directors to discuss the Florida situation. In fact, that meeting cannot be held until the SEC has information on what penalties it wants to bring against Florida, so it is in effect postponed indefinitely. Back to you, Keith.
Up the middle comes Smith. And Smith bangs his way all the way to the 27, but he's at least 5 yards short of his first down. But it is second down now after that play by Smith. Third down, excuse me. Third down and 4.5 to 5 yards.
The college presidents make that decision, not the athletic directors in the Southeastern Conference. The college presidents of the executive committee, they'll make that decision whether Florida will be allowed to play.
Strang on 3rd and about 5, going deep with it. It is caught by Rocky Washington at the Boston College 35.
Just couldn't throw a prettier pass. Then Strang throws a good route, a little look in, and it delays Russell enough that Washington's got good speed, and he looks over his shoulder and catches the ball, hooks it to his stomach, and pulls it down for the completion. It was a great throw.
Well, what about the call? That is about the last thing I would expect.
I guess Russell, the defensive halfback, felt the same way. He didn't think they would go deep on him.
And so it's a first down on Penn State's 3rd pass completion of the night. Inside, it is Steve Smith putting his head down and just churning ahead inside the 30.
Rocky Washington's one of the most remarkable stories in football. He never played a game of football until he'd been in college 3 years. Here he is concentrating. The concentration level there is absolutely sensational as he turns his head, watches it into his hands, and cradles it in for the completion.
So a 23-17 ball game with 1.5 minutes to go in the 3rd quarter, and Penn State's down knocking on the door again. Second down and 4 just inside the BC 30. Dozier And they get him a yard or so short of the first down.
You have to tackle Dozier before he gets in that secondary. Let's see what happens to Mike Ruth, number 68, the nose guard. Watch the center, Hayden, number 58's right hand. Now, the right elbow hits him right in the face. Keeps him out of the play.
On 3rd and a yard, it is Smith for the first down.
Oh, he's effective on that short yardage and gets that blitz. Fullback Smith.
He's rapidly becoming the star of the ball game for the Penn State Lions as they sit right now at the 23 of Boston College. Smith, 15 carries, 2 touchdowns, and 106 yards. Ball is on the BC 23 with 35 seconds to play in the 3rd quarter.
Somewhat like the Penn State teams of the past when they've had a big fullback that could make yards straight ahead.
And they're chewing up the clock, Frank.
Yes, ought to be over here in just a few seconds.
Smith again, and a couple of yards close to the 21. So this crowd of 85,690 watching a whale of a football game. 23-17 Penn State. Back after this commercial message and a word from our local station. Watching this ball game, and as we start the 4th quarter of play, Penn State leading by 6 points and threatening on 2nd down and 9 at the Boston College 22. This is DJ Dozier, run down on a good defensive play, but his second effort gets him 2 more yards out of the carry. Here's Tim.
Keith, we've been trying to get an update on the quarterback for Penn State, John Schaefer, who left the game early in the ball game, or early in the 1st quarter, that is. The word we get now from behind the bench is that he has a slight concussion. His vision is impaired somewhat, but they are very concerned about the slight concussion. He took a pretty good lick inside his face mask, and he came out groggy, and that's when they made the quarterback change.
All right, Timmy, thank you.
Second effort by Dozier gave him about 3 yards rather than be 3rd and 7. It's much less.
3rd and 4. Penn State 3 out of 12 on 3rd down tries in this ball game, and Doug Strang is back to throw it. Loops it up toward the end zone, and it is incomplete, and there is no pass interference call. The crowd was starting to howl as Rocky Washington went down in front of Neil Eiton, but it appeared that Eiton had nothing to do with Washington's falling down, and so there's no flag. Let's look at it.
Well, Washington is going to make an inside fake and go back outside. I believe he trips over his own feet right there, or at least he slips right there. Yep. And, of course, both Eiton slips also. Oh, Eiton might have gone on and intercepted the ball had he not slipped, as the ball is just over his shoulders.
Field goal try now from Gunchitano. 34-yard kick is good. And with 14:44 to play in the game, the Penn State Nittany Lions lead now by 9.
2 of Penn State's touchdowns on the bomb, or at least 2 of their scores, 1 touchdown and 1 field goal was because of the deep pass.
The Atlanta Falcons and the Washington Redskins, both teams have had their woes of late. The Redskins are one of the teams burdened with an enormous number of injuries, and were rattled around last week. They'll play Monday night in the nation's capital at 9 Eastern Time here on ABC, the home of Super Bowl 19. The 1984,
ABC
85
will be doing their first Super Bowl
from Stanford Stadium out on the West Coast. Darren Flutie and Steve Williams will go deep now for Massimo Manca's kickoff. That extra point sticking up there like a sore thumb, isn't it?
Yes, it is. And now Boston College will be going into the wind, and Flutie was very ineffective in the 1st quarter.
There's what the wind will do for you. The ball is drilled way back into the end zone, caught by Williams. It will not be returned, and it'll be Boston College ball at their 20. This is Boston College's 13th possession of this game. Now, that's more than they have been averaging for an entire ball game. So they have had the ball enough.
Yes, that is a great win by TCU over Houston. Jim Wacker has done a tremendous job.
SMU came back late to salvage another one. Texas and SMU both have lived dangerously this year. And Oregon beats UCLA 20-18. Boy, that's a big win for the Ducks and Rich Brooks. Back goes Flutie on first down from his 20. Gets his pass off, and it is incomplete. Thrown to the sidelines, intended for Phelan. Once again, though, Doug Flutie had to throw the ball out of a crowd. He's had a lot of company all night.
The Penn State game plan of just really blitzing those 4 linemen, ignoring the run and telling them to get back and apply as much pressure as they can has been very successful.
Second and 10. Down the middle, Ken Bell slips and slides down at the 27. So they will have 3rd and 3 now.
Which for Boston College normally is a passing down. That's a big call coming up. Boston College needs 2 scores to win this game.
Well, they send in the second tight end.
And Phelan comes out.
They had Flutie by the foot. Now they've got him by both legs. And down at the 11-12-yard line, Bob White, number 34, did the job for the Lions.
Bob White, 34, is the best pass rusher on the Penn State team. Good athlete, good speed, 4'6", but he makes a good play. He's playing the screen first. Now he decides to rush, and Flutie tries to give him a good fake, but he's too good of an athlete right here. He just wraps him up, both arms, and pulls him down.
And Steve Peach now will punt from his own end zone with 13:25 to go. Into a win, gets it up there. He didn't get a tight spiral on the kick, but it does take a Boston College roll and will roll dead at the Penn State 48. 39-yard punt. Lions lead by 9, and they sit in the middle of the field. Part of the big crowd of 85,690, and they are happy.
Well, Penn State's played a very fine football game, and Boston College has stayed close even though they've turned the ball over 4 times and failed to score on 2 of those occasions when they were close.
And Penn State, on the other hand, was only able to cash in 1 of the 4 DC turnovers. Now the Lions go to work from their own 48 with Mumford in there at the tailback position. And Doug Strang gets it off deep. Bellamy inside the 20 at the 18. He got in front of Todd Russell, and Russell couldn't plant his feet and come back to get him.
Roll-out pass, you buy time. Let your receivers get deep. The blitz was on. Strang just throws it up, but the receiver, when you have to come back to the ball, somehow has the advantage. And Russell just made very little effort to come back, and
couldn't get his feet down.
No, couldn't, and Bellamy catches it.
And it's first down at the Boston College 18 for the Lions. Strang's now hit 4 completions, averaging 31 yards. He's been throwing the ball downfield. That is Steve Smith carrying, and he picks up a couple of yards. Here's Jim again.
Some of you may be aware of this already. Alabama came from behind to beat Mississippi State 24-20. Shula was inserted into the game at quarterback as Alabama trailed 13-0, and his 2 touchdown passes keyed the comeback. And of course, thank you, Frank Broyles. Florida's Southeastern Conference fate does rest with college presidents, not athletic directors. Thanks again, and back to Keith and Frank.
Second down, call it 9. For Penn State. As Strang drops to throw, blitz is on, they got it. Number 15, Nickerson, was looping from the outside, but somebody came up the middle to get him, and that's probably Mike Ruth.
The tactics of Penn State is really to protect against the blitz and not hit hot receivers or quick receivers. The blitz is on, and Ruth just keeps relentlessly coming and pressure from the outside, and obviously Strang slips a little bit with Ruth grabbing and helping him.
And the ball now comes back just outside the 24-yard line with Manoa in there at fullback now for Penn State, along with Mumford, the I-back, Strang back to throw it, gets it off under pressure, and it is incomplete. The pass intended for Rocky Washington, and that one just was short-hopped in front of Rocky.
And Washington slips again. We're seeing so many people lose their footing and on grass, and as Keith and both of us had mentioned, that cleat that most of them use just doesn't grab in grass. The rules say you have to use half-inch or less cleat, and Washington's feet go right out from the fun field.
Conchitano is in now for a 41-yard field goal try. He's hit from 25 and from 34. And the referee now has stopped it for just a moment. There's 8 seconds on the clock, and now they reset it to give him the full count, and it's rolling. Hold is good this time. The kick is up. He got it. With 11:21 to play in the football game, it is now Penn State building its lead to 12. Does that sound familiar? Take it back to General Neyland if you'd like. That's right. Goal line, Williams for Boston College. Works his way well through the traffic and comes out to the 25, where the Eagles, now trailing by 12, will go to work. And the clock shows 11:16 to play.
Continuing on with that field position, where Penn State started with the ball at around their own 40-yard line, they make a first down, and they're really at 4-down territory if they want to, where Boston College starting from their 20, they've got to move a long way before they get 4-down territory.
Well, here's Troy Stratford with a full hamstring in the ball game for the first time. Flutie to throw it. Batted away by number 73 and number 55. They're both there. Pete Kirkendall and Tim Johnson. One of them slapped Flutie's pass aside.
Flutie tried to throw it sidearm. He was throwing out to the wide side of the field, to the boundary, rolled over to the right. It was so close to the defenders that they could just get their hands up and knock it down. In fact, it looked like they hit it in the chest.
I remember so many years ago, it's hard to remember, but I remember taking one of those in the chops one time. Boy, did they hurt.
Smart. Here's the spread.
Second and 10. Gets it off, and guess who? Phelan upfield makes the catch for Boston College. First down at the 42.
Keith, how does Phelan always seem to find the open spot? What a knack he has. There's a group of people over there, some receivers, some defensive backs. They're all right congregated in there, but he's in the open spot. You'll see 2 or 3 others come in there.
He knows the geometry of the game. Look at that one. He almost caught that ball flat of his back. Here's Tim Brent.
Keith, I was talking to Doug again. I'm trying to get an update on this shoe. He said it is like AstroTurf. I made a mistake. It is not exactly, but you can see all the cleats on the bottom. The outside ones are just a little bit longer. But what's happening is the dirt, the grass, all getting stuck in there. So it is almost like the AstroTurf cleat. They are a little bit longer down on the bottom, but they are having a lot of problems there. And they said the turf is loose and giving away under his feet. Doug Flutie's left shoulder, Keith, is also giving him problems. It's very sore.
Yeah, he took one hard fall on it. Second down and 10. Pass down the middle. Gieselman, the tight end, takes it on the Penn State side of the field. First down, Eagles at the Lions 38. And the temperature right now is 38 degrees.
That was a tremendous throw. Only Doug Flutie, I think, in college could make this throw. Gieselman's a big tight end working inside of Alexander at 95, and the ball is right on the money.
Kelvin Martin through his hands and then off the chest of number 27, Chris Sidner. Chris was so surprised that the ball came through with that velocity, he literally had no chance to catch it.
Zordich, number 43, was rushing from outside. He was unblocked, free to tackle Flutie if he didn't throw it immediately. This ball game for Boston College rests on just the outstanding play of Doug Flutie, being able to throw the ball mostly because they need 2 scores to win now.
10:38 to play in the game. Second down and 10. No good. Flutie rolling out with the pressure coming. tries to get the ball once again to Phelan and couldn't do it.
I know that people wonder, well, why is the ball so low? That is intended. That is the purpose. That's what he is schooled, not to throw it quite that low, but to keep it down so that if it is deflected in any way, it diverts to the ground, not in the air. If you throw the ball shoulder high and it's deflected, it's intercepted virtually every time with a tip drill.
They put Stratford now up into a slot position. He's a good receiver, but remember he has a pulled hamstring. Now they put him in motion to give him 3 wide to the top of the picture. The pass is away in a hurry to Stratford. Got a first down. Gets past the man. Down the sidelines. Out of bounds. He hit the chalk at the Penn State 15. Sidner was the man that got just enough of him to get him out.
But you can see that Stratford is wide open because 43 Zordich blitzes, and no one is covering. They're playing man for man. They got the third man out on that side. No one to cover him. And had Stratford been well, I believe he would have scored.
If he had full speed and full agility, I think he probably would have scored. Flutie is now 18 out of 37 for 311 yards.
Flutie threw that ball with a man coming at him full speed, untouched.
First down at the Penn State 15. Passes away down the middle, intercepted. He tried to force it, and it's picked off by Rogers Alexander, a middle linebacker. He tried to shoot one between the defenders and the dropping linebacker. Came up with a ball.
When you throw the ball in the middle too many times, the linebacker's going to get his hands on it, but Alexander makes a great play. He comes right in front of him. He's a linebacker, and the ball hits him right on the chest, and he pulls it down for the interception.
With 10 minutes and 12 seconds to play, Penn State has the ball at their own 17. That is the third time now that Boston College has moved the ball down to knock on the door and come away empty. 5 turnovers by Boston College in the game. Penn State first down. The ball at their own 17. And they'll go with the ground game as long as they can. The ground game pretty much tonight has been Steve Smith and DJ Dozier, and that was Smith carrying the ball.
Keith, I think it's remarkable that Penn State has played this entire ball game without a turnover. Boston College has had 5 turnovers. Penn State converted on 1 of those for a field goal only. 3 of them occurred, as Keith mentioned, when Boston College was threatening to score, leaving the ball deep on Penn State's side of the field.
Penn State now with 202 yards out of those 2 running backs, Smith and Dozier. Smith has 110.
Smith is a surprise to everybody. He's just getting better and better.
Second down and 7. This is Dozier, and he's caught.
Dozier carried the ball.
Now the moment of decision, Keith, with long yardage. Will Paterno put the ball in the air right now? If he does, I predict he'll just roll out. Still plenty of time for Boston College to win. He needs the first down. You get too conservative, and things can happen because Flutie can score in a hurry as we look at the clock. 3rd and long. Will he throw? If he does, he'll probably roll out.
3rd and 7. I would expect to pass.
The receiver was wide open.
Slipped and fell.
Yes,
I think, though, Strang had pulled it down and was going to run.
Yes, he was, and but Bellamy was wide open into the boundary. Here again, the slipperage of the field making a difference in the ball game, but the Boston College defense stopped him without a first down. That's critical right now. Critical.
So Bruno is in to punt. Martin drops back to receive it, and the time reads 8:25. Low kick away from Martin, but he's got a little daylight, and he slips and falls down. Well, the reason that they don't use the old 3/4-inch spikes anymore, or cleats, is for medical reasons.
That's correct, Keith. For safety purposes, those 3/4-inch cleats had that sharp point on it, at least a point on it, and there was so many people injured because of it, they reduced it.
That's coming up November 15 here on ABC. Pernell Whitaker out of Norfolk, Virginia. Tyrell Biggs of Philadelphia, gold medalist in the heavyweight. The gold medalist and Evander Holyfield making their professional debut in boxing. And from the 41-yard line, Flutie goes down the middle with it for Bell. Threw it very hard, and Bell couldn't pull it down. Look where Phelan was. Phelan was down on the 15.
Keith, the Flutie's having some problems, obviously. It's tough on a quarterback to get rushed one time and run for your life, and the next time you get a little antsy, even though you have time. And here's Phelan. You see just how far downfield he was. He was the deep man. They had some other receivers cutting in front of him. Ison 22 had him well covered along with Cobb 16.
Second down and 10. Sideline pattern. This time it is caught by Sean Dombrowski, number 44, a sophomore out of Erie, Pennsylvania, and it's a Boston College first down.
And what a catch it was. Dombrowski, 44, is curling on the sideline. The ball is high, and I mean high. Watch this. He goes, boy, that's stretching, and he holds on to it. Great
Sean's
play.
only 5'11", but he reached about 6'6", didn't he? Flutie's pass down the middle. It's good. And I think it's Dombrowski again, taking one down the middle.
Or did Flutie hit him right on the butt? Oh, that's a tough throw. If I could have thrown that in Alvin College, Keith, I'd have played pro ball.
You're too tall.
Lou Jack was the competition, not better off where I am.
Flutie's pass is away. He's got a man, Ken Bell, inside the 5, out of bounds at the 2, with 7 minutes and 44 seconds to play in the game.
Bell is just a substitute, but he went deep when Flutie scrambled that way. Watch the rush. Flutie backs up. He sees the rush coming. One of the moles was unblocked, but the key here is Bell coming back. He's coming back towards and watch him break himself and separate it from the defensive back and makes the completion.
Irrepressible, Doug Flutie. First and goal just outside the 2. They hand it to Strahan, and Strahan goes inside the 1. He's about a 1.5 feet short.
Strahan on the other possession, when they had 1st and 3, did not touch the ball on that series, and that, I'm sure, that the coaches said, hey, let's give it to the big boy. He weighs 230. He high jumped 6'8" in high school. Well, they got too many players in there. Well, here comes one off. Now they just got 10. Oh, they had 11.
There goes Strahan over the top, touchdown. Time, 7 minutes and 16 seconds to play in the ball game, and once again, it is a 6-point difference. And here, with a successful conversion, they can cut it to 5. There's a Penn State player hurt, as you see Strahan's effort over the top.
Now, the rule is that the ball breaks the plane. The ball carrier doesn't have to go over, but the ball breaks the plane, an imaginary plane, right up for the goal line. It was a touchdown.
So we've got a timeout taken for the injured Penn State player, a 6-point difference. It appears that Boston College is going to go for 2. And I don't frankly know why, because it's still going to leave them 4 points down.
If my mathematics is right, they need the 6. If they score a touchdown, they got to have a touchdown regardless of whether they make 2 here or not. And then they'd have to ensure the extra point. This way, one out of 2 extra points would win the game if they score.
Going for 2. Flutie gets it off, and it is no good. Phelan caught it all right, but he had to come out of the end zone to make the catch. And so BC is turned away with no points on the conversion try. And with 7 minutes and 16 seconds to play, it is still a 6-point ball game, 29-23.
What I was trying to say, a 1 point right there would get Boston College within 5 points, and a touchdown puts them ahead.
Well, they wouldn't have to make the extra point.
Now the situation is a touchdown only ties them, so they've got to kick the extra point to win, which anything could happen. As it was, if they'd gone for the extra point there, all they had to make was 1 touchdown and 1 of 2 extra points, and they win. That's complicated. I shouldn't have started.
That's heavy math.
Georgia Tech. Calculus. That was calculus. But I think it was a very unusual play, if not something that they really didn't give much thought to. The 2 would not help them at all. They're still 4 points behind. Field goal would not help them.
Doug Flutie, incidentally, needs 76 more yards to reach 10,000 in his career, total offense.
Isn't that amazing? Keith, we both talked at the timeout that the Penn State defense is getting tired rushing. They're not having quite that pressure on Flutie they had early in the game.
You're so close, you'd be a dead.
Here's the kickoff. It's picked up by a man upfield, number 89, Paul 88, Paul Pomfret. And so Penn State, with Pomfret handling the ball well, gives them pretty good field position up around the 32. South Carolina and Florida State. Well, let's see, Florida State probably getting underway out on the West Coast very shortly, or in the Arizona area. They're playing at Tempe against Arizona State tonight. And South Carolina continues undefeated and untied with their 35-28 victory at Raleigh today against North Carolina State. Boy, it wasn't easy. And you know that Florida State, win or lose tonight, is going to give the Gamecocks a battle next Saturday here on ABC. This is Steve Smith carrying from the 30. Just over the 30 is where they mark it. And he bangs in there for a couple of yards. The time now, well, there's still quite a bit left. There's 7 minutes to play in the ball game.
Of course, Boston College desperately wants to stop them without a first down. And each first down you make, if you run the ball 3 times, you use up at least 2 minutes of the clock. So you can judge from there how many first downs Penn State has to make to run the clock out.
Smith got about 3 yards on that play. They call it second down and 7. Oh, they're going to throw it on second down and go down the middle with it. The pass is incomplete. Pass intended for Seiberling, and a heck of a play by Tony Thurman.
Once again, Tony Thurman, number 17, has 9 interceptions, 22 for the career, playing man-to-man. Had to cover deep first, but came up and broke on the short pass in front of him to knock the ball loose from the receiver, Seiberling.
We're not going to have time for a post-game score show for you. So we're going to roll in the scores of the top games across the country today, but try not to let it detract too much from this one. 3rd down and 7.
Come on now, son.
And now this one reads pass as Strang drops, pressure's on. They've got him scrambling, and they go. They don't get it. He got out of the hole and turns a first down for Penn State at the Boston College 39.
Without question, that's the biggest play of the game. He was in bad shape back here with the blitz, but his Strang is a senior. He's been there before. Pereira, number 41, had a chance, missed it. Now we see Holly, number 53, I guess that's the freshman. Romanowski misses the tackle. Strang, big and strong, makes the critical, very important first down.
Oh, that's a backbreaker at 6:23 to play in the football game. First down for the Lions on the Eagles 39.
Come on.
Now they can run it a while. DJ Dozier hurdles a man, breaks it big. Touchdown, Penn State. Washington made the big play of that run as he knocked Todd Russell out of the play, and Dozier took it in from 39 yards.
Let's watch it again. You'll have a chance to see Dozier. Joe Paterno says has the best instincts in an open field of any player he has ever coached, and you can see why. And 29 just makes a great play, delays Russell enough that he could not make the tackle. Another great run by Paterno.
And once again, it is a 12-point ball game, and possibly going to be 13 in just a moment. But 6:14 to play. Penn State now will go for 2 points on the conversion try. With 6:14 to play, they want to make it a 37-23, a 14-point difference is what they have in mind.
Well, they've got trips to the right, and unbalanced line to the right also, Keith. They're going right.
Strang's pass, good in, complete. Who was it? Washington? Rocky Washington. Well, the big run by Strang. When it appeared that Boston College had him trapped, he got away. Dozier took it 39, and now watch this shot.
All Strang is looking for is one receiver to get open. And you can see that Washington had hooked in between the linebackers and cornerbacks. Was wide open, and the ball was right on the money. Now that extra point that we could have kicked earlier with 13 points behind might make a difference.
And now Penn State's whole fortunes perhaps are improving with each passing second. Number one, Washington with a big lead in the third quarter over California. Number 2, Texas pulled one out. And BYU won rather handily again. They have the longest win streak in the country. Nebraska rolled again today, number 4. South Carolina, number 5, pulled one out. And here's the kickoff now. Wynn carries it well back to the 1-yard line for Steve Williams, who almost slipped back. Looks in traffic, there's no place to go as he comes out for the 16. Now you've got 6 minutes and 11 seconds to play in the game.
It's amazing to me, really, that Boston College, as we look at some more scores, has scored 23 points with the poor field position they've had, and yet they had, what, two more opportunities and failed to cash in on them. Boy, Oklahoma State pulled away, didn't they?
Penn State has had a succession of big plays on both sides of the ball.
Yes, good point. Strang just made the biggest one, and Dozier topped it off.
First down for the Eagles at their 16. Fluty's pass is away up the middle of the field to Kelvin Martin. He threw that thing sidearm. He kind of threw it under one man and over another and got the completion for a first down up at the 34.
We'll see it again as Boston College is running without a huddle. Watch Flutie go to the left and watch him throw it under, as Keith said. Right on the money. What other quarterback in America would ever do that?
Pressure's on. Flutie running for his life. Jump passes and throws it out of bounds, incomplete.
Well, he avoided the blitz and got the ball away and avoided the sack. Notre Dame kicked a field goal with less than 15 seconds on the clock to win.
Been a while since Syracuse beat Pittsburgh. That's an incredible collapse over there at Pittsburgh this year.
It really is.
Look at that. Florida beat Auburn roundly by 21 points. And Alabama came back to beat Mississippi State. That sets up Georgia-Florida as a rather big ball game, doesn't it?
Yes, it does.
Back goes Flutie. Swing passes out to Ken Bell. Trying to get him one-on-one. He gets away from 2. But he can't get away from the covey that follows. And so they're going to have 4 yards to go for their first down. 5 minutes and 35 seconds to play in the ball game. A 37-23, 14-point lead for Penn State. Lions trying to win their 6th against 3 losses. Flutie has time this time, and he's got the first down as he hits Gerard Phelan at midfield.
We got to look for Phelan in every critical situation as we see Ohio State's big win. Phelan came back and just made a beautiful route, ran a beautiful route, and made an outstanding catch. They're running without the huddle, Keith, and that's saving time. They need
2-minute offense, 5:15 to play. Flutie on a deep drop, goes down the middle with it. This one's good again. And the ball is at about the 33 for the first down. And once again, it is Phelan for the catch.
Phelan's going to curl up in the middle, and Flutie threw the sidearm pitch again, right on the money. Watch that. Phelan, see how he cradles that ball in. Oh, my. He knew he was going to get hit immediately.
Boston College trying to move it downfield. Back goes Flutie. Shoots it down the middle. Incomplete. He was going for Phelan one more time, and Phelan had double coverage.
Here comes a group of Penn State substitutes. They've been alternating these linemen, trying to keep them fresh, and so they can apply the pressure. They have one big advantage against Boston College is the number of players that can play, and the ball was underthrown, and Hamilton, 45, was there, but Phelan pulls him down where he couldn't intercept it.
Flutie now 25 out of 48 for 419 yards.
This game's not over.
Second down and 10, 4:54 to play. Ken Bell, they try to slip him over the left side, and penalty flags are thrown.
It looked like Penn State tried to anticipate the snap count and moved into the neutral zone. Obviously, they'll take the penalty. Boston College needs to go ahead and run the play. The clock was not dead on the previous play, so they'll start the clock. And they are. Boston College is going up the line of scrimmage without the huddle. They need 2 scores.
Second down and 5. The ball at the Penn State 28.
Defense, second down.
And now the clock goes. BC's ready to go. And Flutie back. Down the middle? No. Looked like he was trying to find Gieselman that time and couldn't get the ball to him.
Keep thinking ahead. If Boston College needs to go for 2 on one of the occasions, I would recommend, hope if they would use, if they think about it, go for 2 on the first touchdown, give them 2 chances at least to get a tie out of the ball game. Not wait till the last one like Nebraska did in the championship game against Miami. I remember Darrell Royal did that to us in the, in the big shootout. First time they scored, trailing by 14 points, he went for 2 and made it.
Third down and 5. Little short one to Ken Bell, and it's a foot race for the first down, and he's got it. He's got the first down at the 22. It's 4 minutes and 31 seconds to play.
Can you believe that Boston College can run this many plays without the huddle and still pick the defense? Flutie just is sensational in knowing where the receivers are, what the defense looks like, and here comes the blitz. There he is, too.
Slides down, Flutie gets away, now gets the pass off, and it is Strahan caught it.
Yes, he did, too.
My gosh, how did he catch it?
Sensational play. This is what we've grown to expect in watching Doug Flutie. A delayed blitz, meaning the linebacker waits until the linemen make their block, and then he comes free, force Flutie out of the pocket. You can see 53, Graham is chasing him untouched. Flutie, watch Flutie, give him a little fake right here. Boom. Back to the outside. Down goes Graham. Now Flutie sees, what was it, Phelan? Watch this.
No, it's Strahan.
Strahan. Goodness gracious. Look at the catch that fullback makes. Puts his foot down, legal reception.
12-yard line of Penn State. First down, Boston College, 4:14 to play. Blitz is on, pass away. Bell has it. Bell out of bounds at the 6.
Once again, there was an unblocked rusher. Chasing Flutie, and Flutie got the ball away, completed it, even though the blitzer was untouched.
Boy, that's aggravating. It takes something out of you, though, when you're so close to getting him and he just keeps on picking your ball.
Oh, it's unbelievable. This is a fantastic exhibition. I agree with Joe. Never have I seen a better performance, and you see where he's over the 10,000 yards.
No, he needs 3 more.
Oh, I'm sorry.
Yeah, I don't think he needs 3 more. 5 seconds to play in the football game as Flutie rolls and drills Kelvin Martin for the TD.
Now they go for 2. This is again the neck edge reverse right here. Nobody's blocking the defensive end. Number 46. And there he is, wide 2 right here. Needing to go for it. Now, if they're all sides, we're going down. We've got 1.5 yards to go. I would sure go for 2 here.
Well, maybe Jack could settle for a tie, Frank.
Well, that's right. I guess a tie would maybe keep him in that major bowl picture.
That's against Boston.
College.
Well, it's definitely one now.
It's definitely one. You're correct. Well, let's think about that. Would he go for 2? Needing, let's see, lost 1 ball game.
All right, now you're the conservative one.
I would not.
Illegal procedure.
You're asking me? I'd take the tie.
Would you?
Yes, sir.
Well, the tie would, if they could win the remainder of their ball games, would put them in the major bowl probably with 1 loss, 1 tie. There's no dominant, doesn't seem to be many dominant football teams left in America anyway.
Snow's extra point kick is good. You've got 4 minutes and 5 seconds to play in the football game. 37-30, Penn State leading by 7. And the pressure right now will shift over to the Boston College defense.
And that puts young Doug Strang, the senior quarterback for Penn State, right on the spot. You can expect the defense of Boston College to be up there blitzing, trying to force the pass. He's got to have good judgment. He's shown that in that last drive when he pulled the ball down on the blitz and ran for the big play. Set up the field goal.
You know, that Eastern Conference, Dallas and Washington now tied for the lead in the National Conference Eastern Division. Washington Redskins getting healthy people back now to crank it up against the Atlanta Falcons at 9 o'clock Eastern Time, 6 out on the West Coast this coming Monday on ABC Sports, the home of Super Bowl 19.
You don't think Boston College will try an onside kick, do you? I wouldn't think that would be the
Not with 4 minutes
No,
to play.
4 minutes and 5 seconds, and with Flutie being able to score, some teams may need that much time to score from the 50, but not Boston College if they get the chance. But they're expecting an onside kick. They have a half-safe kick. They've got 9 people up and 2 back.
They kicked that low, skittering, bouncing kick, though, and they're hoping to go in the end zone, and it finally does. It just barely did. Ooh, that's close. That thing just barely made it to the end zone. Let's check in with Jim Lampley again.
All right, some quick details on 2 important scores. Texas' comeback victory over Texas Tech was accomplished despite the fact that the Longhorns had 6 turnovers. Todd Dodge was sacked 4 times. They only rushed the ball for 72 yards in the ball game. But, of course, another escape for the Longhorns. As for South Carolina, they got all 25 fourth-quarter points with Hold in the ball game at quarterback in place of Mitchell. They fell behind early with Mitchell at the controls. Hold bailed him out again, as has become the pattern for 6 straight games. Back to you, Keith.
All right, Keith Jackson told me that they're probably going to put Hold in later. They did. Won the game.
This is Steve Smith on the first down from the 20 out to about the 24.
Keith, that one extra, when Boston College went for 2 back earlier on the touchdown before, is looming bigger and bigger. If they kicked the extra point, they would only trail by 6 points. When they went for 2, failed to make it. Now they're trailing by 7.
Bellamy's been pretty quiet so far today. He's caught a couple of balls. One big one. A big one. He got behind Thurman for the touchdown. They pitch it out to Dozier. He runs through the crowd and just short of the first down. He's about a yard short, maybe 2 yards short of the first down. Jim?
Okay, you know about Virginia's win over West Virginia. Listen to the rushing stats for Virginia, which has a great ground attack under George Welsh. Steve Morse, I should say, 18 carries, 141 yards. Howard Petty, 20 carries, 99 yards. Antonio Rice, 9 carries, 70 yards. All in all, they had the ball all day and kept it away from that Mountaineer offense. Back to you, Keith.
George Welsh is one of the great coaches that we know and have had in this country.
3rd down and 2 for Penn State. Strang keeps it. Dives, and he's got a first down. The spot is just over the 30. Ooh, he just barely got it.
The Boston College still has their 3 timeouts, but now, unless they use them, takes 3 down. If you use 3 plays to make a first down, it's about 2 minutes off the clock, and you can judge there how many first downs Penn State has to make to ensure the victory.
Clock is rolling at 3 minutes and 10 seconds to play in the football game. 37-30. It's been an offensive show at Beaver Stadium today and tonight. This is Smith. Hit at the line of scrimmage. He still works his way for about 3 yards.
They're going to use their timeout.
Well, they killed the clock now with 2 minutes and 46 seconds to play in the football game. 2-4-6. 7-point lead, Penn State.
Sat down with Mom, talk to Dad. Can't get it together, makes you feel sad. You know you can do it, you wonder where. You want it soon because you really care. The services can help you so you not only get better, you really grow. Talking Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. They'll take you, train you, show you the way. You'll work hard, get decent pay in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. Prove you can make it. Prove it to all. Serving your country and walking tall in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. You've got it together. They'll see in a glance. Thanks to the services, you got the chance in the Army, Navy, Air Force, Marines. It's a great place to start.
The Boston College defense is up against it. It's 2nd down and 7. You know Penn State is going to run the ball, just hammer at you. If they get another first down, it may be lights out for BC. Rocky Washington goes in motion. Give that ball to Dozier, and Dozier has got the first down. He crosses the 40 up to the 41. Well, Boston College with 2 timeouts remaining now. The clock stops as they move the chains.
Strong legs. Dozier's got. Watch him. He gets hit right there, and he just keeps going. You see, it doesn't go down with the first lick. Makes yardage after he should have been tackled. Holly, number 36, fine holding up. 36 brings him down.
And the ball is sitting close to the 42 of Penn State. So the Lions have worked themselves upfield. And the clock is rolling with 2:20 to play in the ball game. Here goes Smith. And he hits straight ahead for 4 yards. And again, more from Jim.
All right, let me give you some details on Notre Dame. First, the business. In 4 previous appearances at the Meadowlands, the Irish had drawn in excess of 72,000 each time. This week, only 61,000 people turned out to watch them play Navy, and Navy appeared headed for its first win over Notre Dame since 1963 because the Irish turned it over 6 times. 4 Berline interceptions. There was also a Berline fumble. As I mentioned, 6 turnovers in all. Navy led 17-7. The Irish got a touchdown, went for 2 to make it 17-15. Then the field goal by Carney with 17 seconds left from 44 yards bailed him out at 18-17. Key man in the game, Alan Pinkett. You saw him rush 40 times last week here against LSU. Today he carried it 37 times, 165 yards, 2 T's, two touchdowns. Coming on to have a very strong second half of the season, Keith.
Well, it's Notre Dame now is, maybe Jerry Faust is right. He's going to wind up with his 7-4 season yet. And I remind you again, Penn State is jumping back into the bowl picture. Boston College has just spent its timeout. They've got 1 left. 1 left with 2 minutes and 13 seconds to play in the ball game. The first problem they've got is getting the ball away from Penn State. Penn State's ground out. 3 first down. This is number 12, Mumford, Tony Mumford, into the ball game, and now Penn State will be looking as Mumford picks up a couple.
Dozier hurt his leg and went out on that last run, Keith.
3rd down and 4 for Penn State. 3rd and 4. The clock is running, showing 1:50.
They would use that last timeout, I think, after this play if they stop him short of the first down.
This could be $1 million play right here for Boston College. Right?
Yes, it could.
Strang runs away from the crowd, gets the first down. Doug Strang, for the 2nd time in this possession, squeezes out a first down for Penn State with 1:25 to play in the game.
They can run the clock out now. Only 1 timeout. They do not have to punt the ball. They can fall on it.
Boston College did not call the timeout. The clock is rolling along. Doug Flutie in this game has totaled 447 yards. Passing 421 net yards, and is in the 10,000 bracket, the first man ever in Division 1A. Now you've got a penalty flag stopping the clock with exactly 1 minute to play in the game, and this ABC Sports exclusive brought to you by Chevrolet, who invites you to see today's Chevy, drive today's Chevy, live today's Chevy. And Mr. Goodwrench and General Motors Parts, who help you keep that great GM feeling with genuine GM parts. By Radio Shack, the computer experts. And by Owens Corning, our building products put your house in the pink. 1 minute to play, 1 timeout for Boston College, 7-point lead for Penn State.
That ball foul, we will add 4 seconds to the clock, and we go on. The clock will start on the snap.
The new college rule, if the clock was not previously stopped, then you start it only. Start immediately. Now, if it's down to 25 seconds, they couldn't do it. They wouldn't do it. That's the new rule, recent rule. If we look at Flutie's plays, here's what he's done against Penn State. Freshman, just a half of the game in '81, coming in as the quarterback. Close to 1,500 yards.
Close to a mile.
Yep. Joe Turno jokingly said yesterday he may make that mile against us. It's close.
It's 1st and 15 for Penn State. This is Steve Smith to the outside, caught by Harrington and brought down. Got Harrington making a play, bringing him down after a 2-yard pickup. And Boston College now spends its final timeout with 57 seconds to play.
All right, Keith, as you know, Cal State Fullerton came into today one of 4 unbeaten, untied teams in college football. They trailed all day against Fresno State, got a game-winning field goal from 48 yards from Jeff Steinke in the closing moments and beat Fresno 20-17. 10th win of the year. Damon Allen, Marcus Allen's brother, is the quarterback at Cal State Fullerton. He had a streak of 180 passes in a row without an interception. It ended today. And let's go to Division III for a moment. Marietta in Ohio beat Worcester College of Worcester, I should call them, 15-12 on a winning touchdown with 1:05 to play. That ends a 41-game winless streak for Marietta. They tied a game a week ago, came back to win this week, ending the 41-game winless streak for Coach Mike Hallway, who's the son of former Cardinal head coach Bob Hallway, now working as a Vikings assistant. So congratulations to everyone in that little community in Ohio where the agony is over. Back to you, Keith.
Had 2 players injured, one for Penn State, one for Boston College. The timeout was called by the referee. He indicated initially that it was going to be charged against Boston College, but you have 2 injured players on the field, and I don't think that BC is yet charged with this final timeout.
Well, Keith, I think they'll take the timeout anyway because they...
It's a Penn State man down on the field, and BC's got all the time in the world now to get themselves organized. But that's Farrat, Mitch Farrat, injured on the play.
But the clock will start, and Penn State can stay in the huddle 25 seconds, and that will leave 32 seconds left, and they can run a quarterback sneak, and then they stay in the huddle, and the game's over. My congratulations goes to the Penn State coaches and their team for a great effort. Also to Boston College, who turned the ball over 5 times and stayed right in there with a great effort. Turned away by fumbles of the Penn State goal line twice.
Well, Farrat's being helped across the way. 57 seconds. Boston College now has been charged with its final timeout. So they've done what you suggested. They have killed the clock with that timeout. The executive producer of ABC Sports is Roone Arledge. Coverage of the Boston College-Penn State game produced by Chuck Howard. Directed by Andy Sedaris. Our technical director, John Allen. Associate director, John McGinnis. Our technical manager, Bob Armbruster. And our unit manager, Dennis Szabo. Our statistician, Dave Berenson. And our spotter, Todd Barry. And the coldest fellow on the sidelines is Tim Grant.
Keith, it was a great football game. Good college game. It had a lot of big plays in it. The defenses played hard, yet they gave up some big plays, and Boston College turnovers were the difference.
57 seconds to go in the game. 2nd down, 13, Penn State at midfield. Strang takes the snap, steps back, and is knocked down at the 45. And Boston College now, with no more timeouts remaining, cannot stop the clock. Penn State will have to snap it one more time. Well, it's aggravating, I'm sure, for any coach or any team that they have to stand on the sidelines and watch the clock wind away on you. But I think you're right. The Penn State people put their game plan together and played hard. Flutie was sensational. The first 10,000-yard man in Division 1A, 10,003. And they're going to lose their 2nd game of the season, having lost by a point at West Virginia. Penn State's going to beat them by a point here at Beaver Stadium. And the Nittany Lions now will go to a record of 6-3. Boston College will have a record of 5-2. And there is no more time. The game is over. Once again, your final score is Boston College 30, Penn State 37. Jim Lampley will sum up the scores for you in just a few moments. Travel arrangements made through, promotional fee paid by United Airlines. United flies more people to Hawaii than any other airline. Nobody knows Hawaii like United. This has been a presentation of ABC Sports.